And Liam McLeod.
Hello there and welcome to Easter Road. The sunshine is beating down on what looks like a magnificent playing surface here in Edinburgh for the first capital derby of the season, the 331st Edinburgh derby. Hearts have won 146, Hibs 86. They of course met 4 times last season, 2 goalless draws, and Hearts won 2 within a week, one which consigned Hibernian to the bottom 6. And then the following Saturday at Hampden, Hearts won the Scottish Cup semi-final with those 2 spectacular goals from Sims and then Kingsley. Kingsley hasn't made it today for Hearts. Get to their team in a moment. Marshall skippering Hibs, Cadden, Rocky Bashiri, Porteous, Chabraya at the back. It's Kenny and Newell in the middle. Melkerson, Henderson and Campbell supporting Ellie Ewan up front for Hearts. Gordon in goal, Smith, Halkett, Rowles and Cochrane. They've got Haring and Grant sitting in the middle with Forrest and Mackay either side, and Boyce supporting Shankland. Few Edinburgh derby debuts in those starting 11s as Hearts prepare to get the first capital derby of the season underway. They're protecting the goal at the south end of the stadium where their fans are packed in. It's not really a seat to be had. Not too many latecomers. It promises to be quite an atmosphere. Will the match live up to it? Sometimes it doesn't in Edinburgh derby history. Hasn't always been a classic fixture. We shall see how it goes. Hearts in the maroon shirts, white shorts, maroon socks. Hibs in their traditional green and white. Hearts right to left as we watch them up high at the back of the main stand. And the game is underway as Haring plays it out to Smith on the far side. And back to Halkett here for Kai Rowles, who makes his Edinburgh derby debut. The Australian with the long ball forward, which goes between Porteous and Rocky. Porteous knees it back to Marshall, he plays it short to the Belgian. Now it's with Cadden on the near side with the long ball, but it's nodded back by Ewan towards the halfway line, but only to Hearts' benefit as it's put out for a throw in there by Noah Kenny on this near side. Hearts throw in right in front of Lee Johnson's Hibernian dugout. He's moved it up towards halfway now. Has Cochrane, former Brighton loanee, signed a full-time contract in the summer as Haring plays it back to Michael Smith over on that right-hand side in the opening seconds of this game. It's a chip ball forward looking for Shankland, cut out by Porteous. In towards the 18-yard line, sliced ball ends up back at the feet of David Marshall, who will have time to pick the ball up. Very interesting to see David Marshall and Craig Gordon going head-to-head again. First time, I think, since, certainly in Scotland, since their days at Celtic and Craig Gordon's first spell at Hearts. But who will settle the quicker on Derby Day?
How often do you see the 2 captains being the goalkeepers as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you'd normally have stats, Liam. I'm expecting you should have had that one.
Should have? Okay, good. I'll check for it at half-time for you. Long ball forward, which will be cut out by Porteous. He gets there ahead of Shankland and plays it back out to the left-hand side, where it's picked up by Marian Chabraya. The Croatian was back to Porteous, and he goes back to David Marshall. But it is, Jim Duffy, very important, 2 minutes into this, to settle quickly in a derby.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you know, you don't want to be losing a goal early on in the derby, but you just want to try and get your second win, really, because these games normally start at a very frenetic pace. Seems to be the case. I think Hibs are really trying to put pressure on Hearts, knocking long balls up, squeezing the game, trying to get it. Not too much building through the midfield in the first couple of minutes.
Quick free kick there, Hibs taken by Newell out wide right to Cadden, swings the ball into the Hearts box, headed half away. Haring's the edge of the D, and he hooks it to safety, and it'll be picked up by Chabraya on the far side. John Beaton, incidentally, is the referee. It's his 3rd Edinburgh derby. It's quite surprised, thought he'd have presided over more of them. He did the semi-final at Hampden last season, sent off Joe Newell of Hibs in the second half, which kind of ended their thoughts of a comeback as Henderson collects the left angle of the box. Out wide left, chance potentially to cross here for Newell. It's level with the penalty spot of the Hearts box. Back to Henderson, away there from Shankland, and it will be shepherded behind for the goal kick in the end, and it will be Peter Haring to do just that. Goal kick to Hearts, 0-0. We played 3 minutes. Michael Stewart played for both these clubs.
Sorry, Liam.
All right there.
I'm just joking. The interesting thing is that you can quite clearly see and listen to Lee Johnson before the game that He's hammered home the importance of a positive start, and Jim Duffy was talking about it. They're right up on top of Hearts. They're looking to get the game tempo high. Joe Newell taking quick free kicks, wanting to make sure that they actually get themselves on top early in the game. They can't allow the game to drift, and there's another example, snapping into the tackle. 3 Hibs players around.
Yep.
George Grant winning the ball back and then eventually getting the free kick. They want to try and impose themselves on this game early on.
First start for George Grant in the Hearts engine room, but it is a Hibs free kick again. And it's Ewan Kenny who's over it, who arrived from the Leeds under-23 side in the summer. He's actually going to leave it for Newell to take, and everyone bar David Marshall's in the Hearts half right now. Hibs have started the brighter. 4 minutes in, it's Henderson with the right foot, clip ball into the box. Porteous gets his head onto it, but he can only nod it harmlessly behind for the goal kick, and it will stay Hibs 0, Hearts 0.
Yeah, it's not a bad ball from Henderson. He's hit it on the diagonal. I think Porteous has just come in a little bit early. If he can just peel off onto the shoulder of Halkett, he's getting more of a run at it and can maybe direct the ball back across the goal. Not going to score for it, but he could maybe be setting one of his teammates up.
There's Boyce taking it down well in the centre circle. Restored to the starting 11 this afternoon. It's out with Mackay for Hearts, wide right. Looking up at the penalty area, he's got support. Plenty of it, actually 5 ahead of him. He's elected to go back the way to Haring, who switches it to his left for Cochrane. Left foot chip, ball's poor, and it's chested dramatically back to his goalkeeper by Marian Chabraya, and a few optimistic appeals from the Hearts support for a handball inside the box.
You know, first of all, I think when you looked at Barry Mackay being on the ball, Lawrence Shatland made a couple of different runs. He was looking for the ball just to get put in early. It didn't come, and then once it got circulated out to the other side, Cochrane just needs to get the ball out to the wide man. You know, Hearts are playing that system with the 2 wide boys, Mackay and Forrest. They've just got to give them the ball. Sorry, Jim. They've got to feed the ball out there. You know, Cochrane gets the ball. Forrest is pulled out to the wide area. He's 1v1 against the fullback. Feed the wide man. Give him the ball. Let him go and take, especially early on in the game like this. Instead, he cuts back inside and, you know, gives the ball away with a cheap, you know, ball into the box. It was never given the strikers the opportunity to get on it.
Craig Gordon, slack little clearance on the edge of his penalty area. Kenny just knocking it forward, looking to find Josh Campbell, who got the winner against St Johnstone last week. He loses it out to Haring, who passes it back to Craig Gordon, who lifts it forward with the left foot up towards the halfway line. Just before I forget about it, just a moment ago while Michael was talking, there was a wonderful dummy by Liam Boyce. Unfortunately for Hearts, Lawrence Shanklin wasn't on the same wavelength. Really intelligent play by Boyce.
Yeah, you're right, Liam, and I think you know, Lawrence Shanklin put his hand up, acknowledged that he wasn't switched on there, and you know, again, they haven't played together too often. Obviously, we're a couple of games now. You know, that partnership still got to develop that understanding. But you're right, it was intelligent play from Boyce, but just Shanks wasn't quite, you know, in the same wavelength.
6 in, 0-0. If you're just joining us, Martin Boyle back at Hibs, and he's on the bench. International clearance has come through, so Boyle will likely make his debut later on as Newell plays it onto the chest to Kenny, out to the near side for Cadden, who rolls it along the grass. Campbell looking to get it into the path down this right-hand side of Yuan. He's down towards the byline, gets the cross in, flicked away by Halkett, only half away. Newell tries to kill it on the chest. Mackay nicks it away from him. Really good start this by Hibs. Cadden on the right-hand side, looks up, looks the cross into the box. It's too deep though, and it will go out to that far side. It's pretty simple for Michael Smith to clear. Free of injury problems now, the Northern Irishman, as Rocky Bashiri picks up on the near side. Rolls it out to Cadden, level with the edge of the D of the Hearts box, to the angle for Melkerson, back to Cadden, across it comes, and Yuan gets the touch towards goal, and there wasn't enough in it, and Craig Gordon holds on. 7 in, Hibs 0, Hearts 0.
Well, Chris Cadden is invariably, when he gets into those areas, his delivery is good. The one before, just too much on it, it drifted over the back, and Michael Smith was able to clear it, and in that one there, played the 1-2, he just able to get it into an area where it looked like it was going to cause Hearts some problems.
Good take by Shankland on this near side in front of his manager Robbie Nielsen. Both managers are standing at the edge of their technical areas as Smith picks it up in the right, finds Boyce, finds Mackay, couldn't quite get it back into the midfield there, and Hearts do eventually win it back as it's played towards the halfway line for Haring. Steps away from a couple of challenges, rolling it in field, and no free kick as Kenny wins it back for Hibs. Square ball out to this near side is going to come right through to Melkerson, who plays it forward. It's cut out again though, and George Grant has it for Hearts now. And it's rolled to Halkett, who gets it back from Haring, still inside his own half. 8 minutes in, 0-0 out to Michael Smith.
When you look at Hearts' team on paper, and you know Jim was obviously referencing this before, it looks a strong, well-balanced team. My only concern, as I've spoken about, is that centre of defence. Are they going to be comfortable playing in the back four? But you look at elsewhere, and when you think about the likes of Beningame and Devlin to come into the team as well, that's a strong team on paper. If Boyce and Shanklin can form a partnership as well, you look like you've got pace and creativity in the wide areas and goals. You've got creativity and goals at the top end of the park with Shanklin and Boyce, and you've got fullbacks that are actual fullbacks. When they're playing the back three, they don't really have wing backs that have got an attacking threat. They are normal fullbacks. Smith, Cochrane, Atkinson as well, and you've also got Kingsley to come back into the team as well. That's 3 players that would step into that starting 11, and they'd be able to really strengthen it.
Hearts have a throw in down by the corner flag of Hibs as they attack, and Smith wins their first corner of this derby as it comes off Henderson. So first real chance for Hearts to pin Hibs back deep inside their own half here in the game, almost 10 minutes old, nothing each.
Yeah, and I think Hearts have got just a little bit more physicality. You take Porteous and Bashiri out there, there's not too much physical presence in there. Hearts have certainly got a lot of options here.
And that's a low corner which takes a touch off Melkerson, breaks back out wide right. Alan Forrest into the path there. Smith fires it across, cut out well by Porteous at the near post area inside the 6-yard box. Back out wide it goes for Hearts with Forrest midway inside the Hibs half. Out to the left hand side, Mackay looks up, right foot looking for Shanklin, right hand side of the box. Shanklin pulls it back across first time, and it's comfortable for David Marshall to take, and the underarm bowls it to the left hand side, and it will be a chip ball forward by Chabraya, looking for Yuan down that left hand side, in spaces inside the penalty area. He goes for goal. Gordon saves at the near post, and behind it goes for a Hibernian corner from one end to the other. Here Hibs swaggering to the south end of the stadium, and eventually Gordon puts it past. Hibs corner.
That's good play, isn't it?
The pace of Johan, they're obviously looking to exploit that. And I think Hearts are a little bit more patient in the build-up because they don't have that pace with Boyce and Shanklin, whereas Hibs are a little bit more direct, get it in behind. In fact, he was probably too quick for the rest of his teammates, and that's the reason why he took on the shot.
Ewan Henderson will take the corner from that far side, the southeast corner of the stadium. The Hibs left as they attack the goal to the right. In swinger with the right foot, Henderson into the box. The whistle goes though, and that's to Hearts' benefit. And that will be a free kick to the visitors, and it will stay 0-0 on 11 minutes.
That was madness from Johan. I mean, anybody that had, you know, even just a slight view of what was going on between him and Craig Gordon could see he had his arms around the goalkeeper. He was never going to get. I mean, we all know that goalkeepers are a protected species anyway. There was no way he was going to get away with that. But the break there from Hibs, the importance of good goalkeeping. David Marshall starts that attack quickly, rolling out to Chabraya, and it allowed them to break and use the pace of Johan.
Poor ball by Cadden, he was looking for Newell. He will be cleared by Rowles up towards halfway, where Bushiri gets onto it and pokes it back to Porteous. Hearts unbeaten in 6 derbies right now, and Hibs' last home win over Hearts was a 2-0 victory in March 2018. Allen and McLaren scoring the goals in the second half. As Campbell comes forward, he's managed to use the outside of the boot, play it wide right of the box. Cadden across! No takers! And there were 2 in green and white waiting, Melkerson and Henderson, and neither of them was able to get onto it for what would have been a tap into an empty net. It stays 0-0 on 12.
A really, really good play. You know, I said it before, Chris Cadden's delivery is top drawer. It really is, and he fires that into a wonderful area. 2 guys in the 6-yard box, but neither of them able to get on the end of it. A huge opportunity there for Hibs. If you're a striker or a forward player in the Hibs side, you have just got to gamble when that ball's in the wide area on the right hand side with Cadden, because a lot of the times he doesn't even have to beat his opponent, he'll whip it in behind them. On that occasion he was already in behind the defence and put it into a great area, and Craig Gordon, there was nothing he could do. You know, the defence was so close to him, and just amazed that one of the Hibs strikers wasn't lunging for that.
It's one of those, Jim, where Chris Cadden will almost be offended that nobody's been there to put it away.
Yeah, I mean, again, as Michael said, you know, these strikers, you know, they've got to know that. You know your teammate, you work with him every day at training. You know, so there's a free kick there, late challenge. But you know, you work with every day at training. You're working so many of these routines where you play that little link up 1-2, get in behind, then your strikers or your midfield players come in, and you say they've got to be on the move. Defenders can't touch it there because it could be an own goal. Craig Gordon can't come out because it could be a collision. So you know, for me, but I was looking at Johan, and when that ball get played, he was still 20 yards out. So yeah, I think he's a striker. It looks like he'll play in the channels, he'll get you up the pitch. But is he a penalty box striker? We'll start to find that out.
Long ball forward, which Cadden heads clear for Hibs. Melkerson picks up back to Cadden, fires it forward, looking for Johan. It's an offside flag, which goes up against the French striker, who's from Nantes. Played in the French under-19 side with Soumare and Diaby, who are current French internationals, who have been making waves in the last couple of years. As Haring goes down, it's a foul by Campbell, who's had a couple of those now in the early stages. We've played 14 minutes of the derby. It is 0-0 here on the first weekend of the Edinburgh Festivals as well. We have the first Edinburgh derby of the campaign as Forrest nicks it back infield to Cochrane. Centre point of the pitch, midway inside the Hibs half. Brilliant challenge by Kenny, but it breaks back to Haring, who squares it out to the right for Smith and onto the touchline for Mackay. Mackay looks up, loops it forward. Good understanding with Smith. Well read though by Ewan Henderson, who gets back. He read the danger, he clears. And then it is Kai Rawls who knocks it back into the Hibs half. Awkward bounce, which falls Hibs' way. Now can Melkerson stay onside? No! That must have been pretty tight there. It was slipped through to him beautifully there by Nohan Kenny. But the assistant referee had the flag up on this near side to deny Elias Melkerson. And on 15 minutes, bang on that mark now, it stays Hibs 0, Hearts 0.
It must have been very tight, but I'm not sure what Cochrane's doing. I mean, to me, it looked as if he'd stepped like up and infield, and just he actually made the midfielder's mind up, and, you know, where to try and slip the ball. Kai Rawls was still in his position. The fullback, for me, I don't know what he was doing, and you know, if it was indeed marginally offside, he's got away with one there.
It looked a fraction, but he shouldn't have been anywhere near it though.
He was offside. He was offside, we're hearing.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying, he shouldn't have been anywhere near it. To me, he could drop a yard because, as you say, the fullbacks made it easy for him.
Chabraya into a thundering challenge on the far side. He was out for a Hearts throw-in, but you could hear what the Hibs fans made of it. Just little things like that can just add to the atmosphere and can add to the impetus potentially.
You always endear yourself with your home fans if you get in for a crunching tackle in the derby. You know, forget passing and being creative. Get stuck in, get a good 50-50, get the fans off their seat.
16 in 0-0. Long ball, big switch from Cochrane out towards Mackay. Chabraya's there. He's not put a foot wrong in the early stages of the game. Henderson picks it up and smashes it forward. Melkerson gives chase. Cochrane will get there first though. He rolls it back to Craig Gordon, who clears with the left foot into the midfield, but it's controlled by Haring. Haring then goes down, and then he'll win a free kick. Challenged by Kenny. Lee Johnson not happy with the decision, and he's making gestures to John Beaton.
Sorry, Liam, I'm laughing because you've got Robin Nielsen and Lee Johnson both remonstrating with the fourth official. Both had coaches out as well remonstrating with the fourth official. It's got to be the worst job in the world, isn't it, Michael?
And I know what you're saying there, Liam, as well. It looked as if the manager was making a
switch.
Yes, it was the. I don't know if we're allowed to say it, to be honest. But anyway, he had the two.
But what he was actually doing was he was trying to show the referee that he thought it was a handball, that Peter Haring had flicked the ball with his arm rather than a get it.
Yeah, get it followed by something else. Yes, exactly. There's Halkett with a strong challenge in the far side. The referee's happy with it. The Hibs fans aren't. He's going to get it back here, Halkett. Moves it into the centre circle. Mackay finds Shanklin, who's in space. No sign of Cadden covering. Rocky comes across. Shanklin up against Rocky Bushiri. Looks up, shoots with the right foot, and he puts it wide, although it's taken a deflection off Bushiri, and that will be a Hearts corner. Shanklin in worrying space from a Hibs point of view, as we saw Melkerson up the other end.
Yeah, I think, you know, he is clever at that launch. I think a lot of people think, you know, he just run about the penalty box. He does drift in those areas, but for me, Bashiri's got to show him wide there. He shows him into his right foot. He does get a block, but if you're showing him into that inside left position, there's every chance that he's going to last shot in the top corner. So, but the first corner was a very poor corner from Alan Forrest. Interested to see if he gets it right this time.
We played 18 minutes, 0-0. Hearts corner, their second of the derby. Outswinger from Michael Smith coming up on the Hearts right as they attack the famous 5 end. In it comes, headed away by Porteous, picked up by Forrest. Back out to Smith, wide right, level with the penalty spot. Scoops it up into the air. Halkett wins the header, but sends it over the crossbar, and it will stay Hibs 0, Hearts 0 on 18.5 minutes here on Sunday Sports Sound, live from Easter Road.
The previous attack there was good. It was incisive for Hearts. It all started with Halkett playing a really good ball. It took out about 3 or 4 Hibs players into Mackay, and then again another forward pass, quick, incisive, into Owen Shanklin in that inside left channel. And Jim's absolutely spot on. The defender's got to just try and usher him towards the byline, keep him going down the line, and make sure that your fellow teammates are in the box marking, appropriately. You allow Shanklin to cut in on the right, and he's going to have that strike, and you just don't know what's happening. He's got the quality to be able to find the net.
Okay, Bushiri in trouble, but he digs himself out of the hole, finds Cadden on the right. Forward it comes, cut out by Rolls, and out it goes for a Hibs throw-in.
I see Ryan Porteous limping a little bit. I don't know if it's is it a knock or he was just a little bit tight somewhere along.
Yeah.
But certainly that'd be a worrying aspect if he is. He certainly seems okay, but he's certainly limping a little bit.
And Lee Johnson's got a little bonus in the fact Paul Hanlon's back in the matchday squad. Missed so much of the second half of last season, and he's had a couple of niggles, couple of recurrences of the injury. He's on the bench today. It's a poor ball there by Chebraya. It's picked up by Haring, who works a 1-2 with Boyce. Haring has it here. Peter Haring's an Edinburgh derby goal scorer in the past. Rolls it to George Grant, who's been quiet so far. Alan Forrest wide on the left as we approach 20 goalless minutes. Forrest into the penalty area. Now he's dropping the shoulder, plays it across off Melkerson, and out it goes for Hearts' third corner of this derby.
That's poor from Chebraya. He cuts back on his right foot and plays it into the centre of the park, and he's nowhere near the Hibs midfield. Peter Haring is able to pounce onto it. If he'd been able to just play it ever so slightly quicker, Alan Forrest was in behind Chris Cadden the first instance, but they were able, Hibs, just to slow it up a little bit. The Hearts have done well, and now George Grant's got an opportunity to put a ball in.
And it comes with the right foot, comes right across the 6-yard area of Campbell or Boyce, who met it at the left angle of the 6-yard area. And it's gone out of play for a throw into Hearts, so the final touch came off the Hibs man. And this is about level with the 18-yard line over on the east stand side, over on the Hearts right. And Michael Smith is over it. A little bit of movement from Shankland, trying to hold off Kenny. Comes now to Shankland, who finds Grant. A lovely first-time ball to Smith, but the flag's up anyway, and it will stay. Smith puts it harmlessly onto the roof of the net. In any case, Hibs 0, Hearts 0 on 21.
I mean, as we would expect, Liam, both teams are ultra competitive. There's not much space there. These games invariably take time to settle down, and I think that's been the case today. Neither goalkeeper's really been tested. With Craig Gaunt to a comfortable save from Johan, but other than that, there hasn't been too much goalmouth action.
Remember the first derby of last season in the league, goalless at Tynecastle. I don't think we saw 2 better goalkeeping displays all season in Craig Gordon and Matt Macy that day as the chip ball comes through. Shanklin goes in and scores!
What a goal! What a goal!
Calamitous in the back for Hibs, and Lawrence Shanklin steals in and prods the ball past David Marshall. The Hearts supporters in the south end of the stadium erupt, and little wonder Lawrence Shanklin officially introduces himself as a Heart of Midlothian striker, the number 9, with the first Edinburgh derby goal of the season here in Leith. 22 in, Hibernian 0, Heart of Midlothian 1.
What a goal from Hearts, and it's not just the finish from Lawrence Shanklin. The build-up play in and around the halfway line, the link-up, wonderful play. And then when Barry Mackay cuts back in field, he plays an inch-perfect ball over the Hibs defence. But given all that, and the sensational touch and finish from Shanklin, you've got to be looking at the Hibs defence and saying they have got to be stronger. They've got to be more commanding. You can't allow the striker to hold you off like that when you're firing into the box. But that is an absolutely brilliant goal from Hearts' perspective.
Shanklin's held off 2 Hibs defenders there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a fantastic piece of strikers play, no doubt about it whatsoever. He's made the run. The thing for me, looking up here, we've got a great vantage point. So there's players on the pitch anyway, so the game's going to be delayed, Liam. But, he hasn't come short and then spun in behind. It's a straightforward striker's run. For me, defenders have to be able to anticipate that, see it, understand where Shankland's wanting to go, but they're a split second late, and that's all a player like Lawrence Shankland's quality needs, as I said. But when he gets it down on the floor, he's got that little composure just to outside the right foot, just play it beyond David Marshall. He's coming out to close down the space. An outstanding goal from Hearts' point of view. I mean, magnificent ball. I think it was Barry Mackay, I think it made the ball over the top. Fantastic goal, you know. So listen, let's give credit to the skill and the invention, the movement, and you know, we can look at the defensive side maybe another time.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, Jim first of all mentioned it at the start of the game that and Robbie's also fully aware of it as well, that threat that Hearts have got in that top end of the park. Forrest and Mackay, they can create and score goals, and you've got a goal scorer. That is a goal scorer in action right there for Shankland.
Yuan up the other end for Hibs, though. He's in the Hearts box, taking on too many. It seems there are 3 Hearts defenders around him. He still thought he was going to get past them. Blocked by Haring, out it goes for a throw-in to Hibs over on the far side. 24 in, Hearts with a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Michael, whether, you know, that tactical switch that Robbie was saying was just bringing Mackay to the left and Forrest to the right. I'm not sure, obviously Mackay, or it's just...
The angle ball comes in and it goes behind for a goal kick. Cochrane was diving for it, didn't get a touch. Hearts goal kick.
Sorry, Liam, whether they've actually just, you know, keep switching during the game. But, you know, it seems to be that Mackay's over on the left. Obviously, Cadden was marauding down the right-hand side a little bit. Maybe he's done that for a reason. But certainly, Mackay on this side of the pitch, coming into his right foot, had that invention, quality, creativity to pick out Shankland. And as I say, once Shankland gets in there, you know, it's very, very, very doesn't hit the target.
It's pure composure. You know, most players, when they get into that area, there would be a certain element of tension, or you would panic a little bit. Yeah, he doesn't at all. He just is fully confident. He knows what he's trying to do.
Here come Hearts again. Barry Mackay looks up, can he repeat the trick? And it comes with the left foot. Boyce wanted it more, heads it down into the ground, and Marshall holds on. Chevrayas claiming he was fouled there by Liam Boyce. No question of that in John Beaton's mind. And David Marshall holds on relatively comfortably in the end as Hibs come away on the counter-attack. Chevraya, out it comes to Yuan on that far side. He wins the throw-in off Halkett. Another opportunity there for Hearts, and you would not have been surprised to see Liam Boyce nestle that one in the net.
Well, I think it was just a distance, wasn't it?
Exactly.
It was about 15 yards out in an angle, but he is very good at that. And Chevraya, you know, I think it's against welcome to a derby. You know, he's looking for a free kick there. Absolutely not. It's just an aggressive striker wanting that a little bit more.
It would have to have been a very good header to beat a keeper of the calibre of David Marshall from there. And it wasn't as if it was one of those crosses. There was a lot of pace in it. It was hung up for him. But I've got to say that, well, you can just look at the Hearts support. They're going wild. And there is a sense for Hearts that Lawrence Shankland is almost the missing piece of the jigsaw. You know, he's a guy that they've invested heavily in, and if he can come up with, you know, goals like that, Hearts are a very good side.
And passes like that, because he's found Alan Forrest down that right-hand side. Smith galloping on the overlap, will use him as a decoy. It's Forrest, he's into the box, jinks onto the left foot and shoots high over the bar, and it will stay 1-0 to the Jam Tarts. 26 and a half in.
Yeah, another good link-up play from Shankland, just to, you know, just over the halfway line, gets it, switches the play. We're talking there about Shankland being composed and not getting overexcited. Well, exactly what Alan Forrest did do. Just, you know, he came in, I think he didn't know quite what to do, and he thought, well, I'll swing a left-footed it rather than maybe just keep possession.
Long ball forward there, which comes off the head of Halkett, I think, back to Gordon. The Hibs fans howling for a free kick for Eli Yuan, the referee. It wasn't forthcoming, but the play will be stopped now because Yuan's still on the deck.
Craig Halkett, he did step across him. You know, defenders do it all the time. I don't think he actually needed to, though, because you could see that his partner, Kai Rose, was going to get on and head it. I felt he could have just dropped a bit more rather than trying to go in and block the path of Yuan, because he gave John Beaton the opportunity to give the free kick if he wanted to.
I must admit, Michael, I didn't see that. I thought, you know, Yuan more or less just kind of bumped into him, and he's just going to stand his ground like a defender would do. You know, it's, you know the different striker combinations. You know, Hearts have definitely got a threat every time the ball goes forward.
Yep.
Whereas I said, most of the time, Johan's making those runs. I said inside, left, inside, right. He'll certainly get you up the pitch. but he actually needs a type of Shankland guy to play with.
He does.
So that when he makes those runs, there's someone in the box.
I was just thinking that myself as well, that he's played a lot on that inside left channel in particular, but there doesn't seem like there's an out-and-out number 9 there. He's going and drifting. Melkerson's not really a wide right player either. He's somebody that wants to play as a striker, and Henderson's not really a wide left player. There are guys that can do a job there. Now, I don't think if this game stays like this, when you get into the second half, I'd imagine it won't be long before the likes of Martin Boyle's finding himself on the park, and Christian Doidge as well.
Yeah, Rocky Bashiri's giving it straight to the goal scorer. Boyce then goes down. No free kick, says John Beaton. Lawrence Shankland's first Hearts goal comes on Derby Day. You invest so heavily, as Michael was saying, in a player, striker, number 9. You want him to get off the mark pretty quickly, but to do it in this fixture, if you're a Hearts player, is absolutely perfect for Robbie Neilson and for the player himself.
I was just going to say, for Lawrence Shankland as well, what a great feeling, because he's desperate to settle into the role and to feel the adulation of the support as well, and no better occasion and venue to do that than in the Derby at Easter Road, and it'll fill him full of confidence.
I know it's a daffy thing, Michael, but for me, I know he scored up at the Hibs end away from the Hearts end, but I would have loved to have seen him running towards the halfway line to accept that adulation from the Hearts fans, rather than into the corner and maybe annoy a few Hibs fans. Go and celebrate with your own fans, and I think they would have really been right off their seat for him.
There will be a Hibs ball down this near side as they try and react. They've looked a little bit stunned since Shankland prodded Hearts into the lead. 30th minute of the game. They've got a free kick here midway inside the Hearts half, a few yards away from this main stand side touchline. Over it. Ewan Henderson.
You think back to the semi-final, Hibs started very well, but then they fell away when Hearts got themselves in front.
Newell takes the free kick left foot. It's a very useful delivery as well. Chance to score, which isn't taken. It's been put wide. Noah Kenny met it in the back post as it was bending and weaving its way through Hearts defenders, but it's off target, comes off a defender in the end and behind for a Hibs corner.
Wonderful ball in, wasn't it, from Joe Newell?
Fantastic ball for Joe Newell.
Yeah, it looked as if it was going to be in the back of the net from Kennett, but good defending from Hearts.
It's Lawrence Shankland, Mikey's got the touch. Joe Newell will try and keep the pressure on Hibs with the corner, left-footed in-swinger from this near side. It's not as good this time, headed away at the near post.
I was just going to say, in that semi-final, Hibs, they drifted out the game for a brief period and Hearts got themselves 2-0 up, and just mentioning the importance that they stay in this game, because the last thing they need is to be going 2-0 down.
There's Henderson for Hibs, though, rolls it into the box. Newell shoots and it goes over. No touch from the keeper, and it's a goal kick here for Hearts, and it will stay 1-0 to the visitors on 31 minutes here.
Yeah, a good couple of minutes from Hibernian there. Joe Newell just on his standing leg, really, his right foot, and he just has a bit of a swinging of the head out, off balance. If it was on his left-hand side, more than capable of keeping that down and hitting the target. But initially, to say, a fantastic free kick, and very unlucky, from Hibernian's point of view, that the angle was just too tight for Kenner, just to cause too many problems. But as you say, Liam, Lawrence Shankland, he was on his toes, was alert to any danger in behind him and cleared it away.
Yeah,
so he's been the key man so far.
He headed the corner away as well, Shankland. That's a dreadful ball by Porteous. Hearts can't profit though. It's not through there by Grant to Boyce. You couldn't find Shankland, and Hibs clear. Melkerson giving chase. Melkerson, right-hand side of the penalty area. The Hearts fans claim he controlled with a hand. Rolls it back to Campbell. Right foot chip ball comes in. Headed away by Craig Halkett. 32 minutes, 1-0 Hearts. Hibs have been better the last few minutes though. Campbell out to Cadden on this near side. Cadden returns it to Campbell, who does well. Finds Melkerson first time. Cross comes in. What a save by Gordon. To keep a Ewan at the expense of a corner. It's magnificent from Craig Gordon, who, I repeat, is in his 40th year.
It's ridiculous. I mean, look, it's a great move from Hibs. Really, really good bowling from Melkerson. So much pace on it as well, that when you see the header, you're thinking to yourself, there's no way the keeper can react from such close distance. And not only does he react, he gets it away out the danger area for a corner.
Just taken by Newell, left-footed. This time it's right through to the goalkeeper, and Gordon holds on with both gloves. the Midas touch in this fixture last season, Craig Gordon, as he did in his first spell as a Hearts player.
Magnificent, Liam. You know, I mean, he's just such a fantastic goalkeeper, you know, and comes up with these type of saves, and you know, in the pivotal moments. And it was great play, you know, Michael said, from Hibernian. Great cross, great run from Johan, have to say that, get across the defender, and a fantastic little flick. But Craig Gordon once again breaking the hearts of the Hibs players.
Yeah, Lauren Shankland has challenged
Josh Campbell.
It's Josh Campbell, in the middle of the pitch there. The Hibs fans are booing, they didn't even get a free kick, let alone any further action taken against Shankland. 33.5 in, Hibs 0, Hearts 1.
I mean, replays might prove different, but to be honest, I thought John Beaton was spot on. Look,
well, let's find out. Will we? Brian seen it?
No, Lauren Shankland's got away with one there. The foot was up, the studs were up, his foot was off the ground, and yeah, that's a nasty one. And a lucky boy not to at least have a yellow card for that one.
He took a heavy touch, and well, there you go. The replays do prove different. I just thought that he'd gone into the tackle, and you know, it was a challenge that obviously Campbell felt something, but I didn't think that Lauren Shankland had done anything particularly wrong. But if he's gone over the ball, then he has been lucky.
Blocked there by Ewan on Cochrane, which the referee didn't like, and it's a free kick to Hearts, which is taken by Rowles, who finds Halkett out to Smith over on that right hand side, about 11 minutes from half time. Remember, later 3 o'clock kickoff, Dundee United against Livingston. Full coverage here on Sunday Sports Sound.
I've got to say that Kai Rose has looked comfortable.
Oh, now Porteous has gone in on Boyce. John Beaton's gone to his pocket, and the yellow card is out for Ryan Porteous. And Boyce is left writhing on the deck. He's had some serious injury problems in the past, has Boyce, and we know Ryan Porteous has had some disciplinary problems in the past. Yellow card, the first of this game.
It's the pace he comes in at, and he comes in from the side as well. I mean, Boyce is in control of the ball, and he may well have win the ball, but you can't go in. We all know, say that it's not something that's come in the last few months. It's been there for years now. You can't go in with that aggression, that pace, and go through the player to try and win the ball. You know, it was almost as if, you know, typical, you know, like, you know, you get frustrated by something. Maybe he was just frustrated by that Lawrence Shankland tackle earlier on.
I'll tell you what, Jim, let's find out, shall we? Brian's had a look at the replay of that as well.
Yeah, it was a strong challenge. He actually came round Liam Boyce, and I think he's very unlucky there to receive a yellow card for that one. Possibly a bit of reputation there for Ryan Porteous.
Yeah, perhaps into the final 10 in the first half here, with Hearts leading by 1-0, scored by Lawrence Shankland. His first competitive goal for the club as the throw-in is taken. Forrest picks it up, swivels and turns it back from the byline low, looking for Shankland, cut out by Porteous. Hibs defence a little bit slack
a little bit. I mean, huge mistake there from Hibs defensively. They were fortunate to get away with that. You know, it's a shy, and Alan Forrest, good play from him. He just runs right in behind Hibs defence. No, where's the communication? Nobody's talking. You know, Hibs are very, very lucky that that Alan Forrest wasn't able to get his first touch closer to him, and he'd be more balanced to be able to get either a touch himself and have a strike, or get the cutback. He was stretching for it after his first touch. Hibs lucky there.
Both these clubs looking to take a 100% record into match day 3 next weekend. After narrow wins last week, Hibs beating St Johnstone 1-0. Hearts, tough afternoon at home it was against Ross County for them last week, but they emerged with all 3 points, and that's all that matters. And as Joe Newell picks up in the centre circle, left-footed, looking for Ewan, way too much on it, and it goes behind for the goal kick, and it will stay. Hibs 0, Hearts 1 on 37 just about.
The one thing that you can see from Hibs is they're desperately trying to use that pace of Johan in behind Hearts, but you know, it feels to me as if they're just forcing it a little bit as well. They need to try to find, you know, whether they need to get a substitution on or whatever, but whether it's Campbell getting in there or Melkerson or Henderson stepping off the line, they need to try and find a little pocket of space in front of the Hearts defence, and then you can try and play those little slide rule passes into the striker. It's become a little bit one-dimensional from Hibs, playing that ball over the top.
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, they do have options on the bench, most notably their new number 77, Martin Boyle. The rest of the bench is made up of Dabrowski, Miller, Hanlon, Doyle, Hayes, Doidge, Bojang, McGregor and McIntyre.
I was just saying before the tackles there, from what I've seen so far of Kai Rogers, he looks not bad at all. Left-sided centre-half defender that wants to defend first and foremost, but capable of just playing, you know, simple balls and keeping possession. He looks like a good acquisition for Hearts there.
Good battle down there for the ball, and in the end Shanklin wins the free kick for the foul by Kenny. This is about level with the edge of the centre circle. It's bubbling away, this match now. It's Hearts leading by 1-0, but there's a few players who are playing on the edge right now, as you would expect in a derby.
Yeah, terrific play from Longchatton again. He's held Bashiri off, and then he's been into a kind of block tackle with Kenny's come through with the ball, and he's pulled the jersey and you know, kind of bundled him down to the ground. So an obvious free kick for John Beaton there, and yeah, you're right, there's going to be a few feisty moments, there's no doubt about that, Liam.
It's an exciting season potentially for Hearts. European group stage football, at the very least Conference League group stage football guaranteed. Looking to build on last season's third place finish, Scottish Cup final appearance. It's George Grant with the free kick. He's gone for the big switch. Mackay goes after it, but he'll settle on a throw-in.
Well, he's lucky.
It came off Henderson's head.
He's lucky. You know, he's had a few... I mean, look, you can see technically he's a nice player, and you can imagine from set pieces his delivery should be good, but so far from the corners and that free kick there, he's not been on point. That one was just way too high in the sky, and he was lucky that I think it was Henderson flicks it out for a Hearts shy on the far side.
Yeah, I'd like to see him just give Barry Mackay the ball there, going for a 2v1 situation in the wide area.
Yep.
I mean, the Hibs hadn't closed down the space. Barry Mackay runs over the ball, but to me, just roll it to Barry Mackay and let him get at you know, the full backs, and he's just said he can go in a 2v1 situation there, and you've got a different angle to get the ball into the box.
Hearts have another throw-in approaching 40 minutes, 1-0. They lead, they're deep inside Hibs territory, and they get a third throw-in in quick succession. This time it's a bit level with the Hibs 18-yard line. Michael Smith is over it, he's taking it quickly, looking for Boyce, he's on the turn, and then Kenny puts it behind for another Hearts corner. Hearts looking for a second goal before half-time.
That's 3 times, Liam, that the ball's been able to throw into the striker's feet. Yep. You know, the one that Mike was talking about down to Forrest, but there's another one earlier on to Shanklin. I mean, it's basics. You know, you always screen the striker. If they throw into the corner flag, then fine, but you cannot allow the ball to be thrown into the striker's feet.
Inside the box.
Smith takes, outswinger, headed away by Josh Campbell. He was the Hibs match winner in Perth last weekend. Grant keeping it in play on the far side, gets round Melkerson, couldn't get away from Chabraya. In fact, it's not Chabraya out there, it's
Campbell
there again. And Newell manages to get there ahead of Grant and clears with the left foot up towards Yuan, who is actually beaten to it by Rawls, whose header eventually comes back, settles at the feet of Michael Smith.
Jim, you know, just touch on that with the throw-in straight into the box. There's a few occasions, and it's, you know, you've got Kenny, the midfielder. He should be in front of Liam Boyce, and the defender should be behind him. He should be the meat in the sandwich so that the ball can't come into his feet like that. It's far too easy.
Little bump there by Boyce, and Porteous, a bit of retribution dished out on the challenge earlier that Porteous was booked for, as he takes the free kick quickly, does well, switches it out to Cadder on the right, controls, he's level with the Hearts 6-yard line, rolls it back to Campbell. Campbell wants to pass it back, though that's not gone down well with the natives here. Campbell gets it back, infield to Newell, goes back to Bushiri. Hearts though making Hibs go back the way. 42nd minute. Hearts looking to maintain their lead at least at the half-time break, as Campbell picks up and clips it out wide left. Oh, it's a handball by Chabraya, wasn't it? He's able to get the cross in. Jim says it came off his chest as it's put out for a Hibs throw-in on the far side. Alan Forrest was the closest Hearts player, and then Campbell wanted too long there as he sees his pass cut out by Forrest and out for a Hibs throw-in on the far side. 1-0 to Hearts, 3 minutes left in the first half. Here come Hibs with Campbell, left angle of the box, out it comes here to Yuan, reverse pass, misunderstanding with Chabraya, and booted to safety there by Michael Smith into the stand like, on the far side.
You can see Michael Smith was claiming for it, and it did look like it from here that it flicked off of the Hibs player as he cleared it.
Short throw in there to Henderson. It's back with Chabraya, takes a touch, left foot ball comes in, but it's Craig Gordon's all day long, and it stays Hibs 0, Hearts 1 on 42 and a half.
You can't throw a floaty ball at him, McAvey. I mean, you know, the Cad in this side of the pitch has put in 2 or 3 fantastic crosses, but Cabrera on the other side of the pitch, you know, hasn't really been as anywhere near as effective. And you know, he's a steady enough game, but quite quiet.
Bushiri not decisive at all, albeit the referee stopped it because Porteous was on the ground. Rocky Bushiri always looks like he's got a mistake in him, and you can tell when he's on the ball. You can almost feel the apprehension amongst the Hibs fans. A couple of times there, and he's lucky that time he got more fresh air than football there.
He is still a young centre back, and you know, him and Porteous, you know, last year, you know, they didn't have the best season. Well, Hibs obviously didn't, and those two, I think, need an experienced player to you know, learn from.
Offside. As he gives chase, Gordon got there anyway. Into the latter stages of the first half here in the capital. Lawrence Shankland with the only goal of the game. And he took it well, came on 23 minutes. Lovely ball by Barry Mackay. His Hearts came forward very quickly, actually. It was in a flash it happened. Mackay lifted it over the Hibs defence. Shankland held off the 2 defenders and poked it past David Marshall. It's the only goal of this derby match so far. Hibs get a throw in deep inside their own half, taken there by Chebraya, back to Porteous. Played along his own 18-yard line for Bushiri, under pressure from Shankland. Back in Scottish football after that disappointing season at Beerschot in Belgium. They were relegated from the top flight last season. It's a great move for Shankland, and if he fires, it's a great move for Hearts. As Porteous lifts it forward, flicked on by Campbell. Melkerson will chase, Rowles will put it out for a throw-in. Final minute of the first half here, Hearts leading by 1-0. Hibs looking for a leveller before the break. Campbell controls in the chest. Now it's with Newell moving towards the Hearts box. Newell under serious pressure though. It's brilliantly defended by Alan Forrest, who finds Mackay, who moves it back to Cochrane, who will sweep it clear up high with the left foot. It goes away from Forrest though. Bushiri's there. He lets it go back to his keeper, and Marshall clears it first time with the right foot.
That was a good clearance from David Marshall. He came back it on with a fair bit of pace.
2 minutes, as you can hear. Been added on at the end in stoppages. Cochrane moves it back to Rowles, who rolls it back to his keeper. Into the first of those 2 minutes then. It's Gordon with a long left foot ball. Bushiri's header for Cadden. Hibs started the brighter of the two teams. Ewan's in an offside position there, so...
You know, we're talking about young centre-halves, and I don't want to curse him so far, but definitely Kai Rowles, for me, he looks like a solid centre-half. Doesn't take chances, keeps it simple. Good defensive instinct, wants to be physical as well. Left-sided centre-half. Yep, he certainly looks like he's going to develop as well as a defender. Inevitably, the more games he plays, the more experience he gains.
Yeah, taking John Suter's place in the squad, although he does play on that left-hand side, albeit John Suter did play in that side at Livingston for Rangers last week. Hearts have a free kick. A frustrating first half in the end up here for the Hibees, and it's right-footed in towards David Marshall, who will hold on comfortably, and it will stay Hibs 0, Hearts 1. Bushiri clears, final minute of the 2 that was added. About the final 30 seconds as Cochrane goes down, challenged by Melkerson. No free kick, it will be a Hibs throw-in, which Cadden's going to take, but the referee's going to stop the play because Cochrane this time is down. It's the final few seconds of the first half as the sun shines down on the stadium again. Hibs 0, Hearts 1.
Mikey, you see Grant's skill over on the far side. He's got great feet, but his set pieces have been so poor today. You know, everything he's trying to do, he's floated it in, he's overhit it, he's hit it flat. You know, for one, it's just one of those days where, you know, he certainly hasn't got that right.
Half-time in the first Edinburgh derby of the season, and Robbie Nielsen delighted because his team lead, Lawrence Shankland's first Hearts goal, comes in an Edinburgh derby. What a time, what a place to do it here at Easter Road. 23 minutes he prodded it home after a wonderful clip ball by Barry Mackay. Hibs started it better. Ewan with a shot saved by Craig Gordon, who also made a fabulous save from Ewan again. Just after the half-hour mark, Liam Boyce had an opportunity with a header too, but at half-time at Easter Road, it is Hibernian 0, Heart of Midlothian 1.
This is Sports Sound
from BBC Radio Scotland.
The sun is shining. My legs are out.
This August, BBC Radio Scotland returns to the Edinburgh Festivals.
It truly is such a thrill, and I think it's shared by everyone here and wherever you're listening, to actually be back.
Bringing you live music.
You've got us vibing in the front and the back.
Conversation.
It's been a mind-stretching, thought-provoking session. Thank you very much.
Comedy.
Have you ever had to buy something you didn't want to?
Bought a scoosh of perfume from a nightclub attendant.
And everything in between.
We are revelling in the Edinburgh Festival. How are you doing?
Coverage continues tomorrow on BBC Radio Scotland and BBC Sounds.
You're listening to Sports Sound with me, Richard Gordon. It is 1-0 in the derby. It was a goal that was so well constructed, so well taken by Lawrence Shankland, but it shouldn't have stood. There was a handball in there as Barry Mackay came in off the left and chipped it over to find Shankland. There's no question that Lawrence Shankland controls it with the upper part of his arm. And had that been spotted, the goal would have been disallowed. I know that would have been very difficult to see with the naked eye. We had to look at a few replays. You can perhaps understand why neither of the officials at that end of the park were able to notice exactly what had happened. But I think, Tom English, like me, you've had the opportunity to watch reruns.
Well, I'm just watching them now, Richard. I'm still...
There is what you'll get to it. There is one replay that makes it clear.
Does it not come off his kind of shoulder up?
I don't know how. I don't know how many replays you've seen, but you will eventually get to the one that shows it.
Okay, well you've seen the definitive clip there, and you're confident that it's come off.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well,
you keep watching.
We'll keep watching here. I mean, it did. To be honest, it didn't strike me as handball.
No, me neither.
Although I did get a couple of texts to say have a look at that because it could be handball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, you've seen it. We haven't seen it properly. I'd like to see it again. And if it's handball, then there's going to be skin and hair flying if that's the only goal of the game, right? We're watching it again. Hang on, we're watching it again here. Watching it again. I think I see handball now.
That is very, very close to the area which, in terms of the upper part of the arm, where it's not a handball. I mean, whatever it is, I don't think you can have a go at the officials for
Michael, that was the point I was making. It's impossible for them to see that.
And look, we're watching it here 3 and 4 times, and we finally got to the where you. Well, certainly I have got to where you are, Richard, in terms of. Yeah, it looks like it. But look, you can't blame the referees, officials. That is a tough one to pick out.
15,000 Hibs fans say it's a handball.
They will all pick it out later on once they see the telly.
They would have seen it in the game.
It was right up there. It was the upper arm, but it absolutely catches just that part of the arm. But the boys are right. Impossible for the referee and even the assistant, he's on the far side, so the kind of Shankland and the other defenders. The other players are between the assistants and the incident, so it's not one where you can slaughter the officials. Absolutely not.
Well, the Hibs fans will slaughter the officials.
Well, they will.
We know that. The Hibs fans will expect them to have seen that clearly. This will become a clear and obvious handball.
It will go down in the annals of the Edinburgh Derby as the day that the officials shamed Hibernian.
It was. Apart from
to take away the fact that it did hit the top of his arm, it was a brilliant goal, wasn't it?
It was brilliantly constructed, as the lad said. It was slick in the build-up. It was a beautiful clip ball from Mackay. And how often I think are we going to be saying Mackay to Shankland and goal this season? I'd say quite often, because Mackay has that, and that is the little bit that's missing in this Hibs team. They've had a lot of possession, a huge amount of effort. But that little bit of class that Mackay showed there, and actually in the build-up before that, that's what's missing in this Hibs team. Boyle could provide that, So they've got players. McGeady, when they get him fit, might provide that. So they have players to come in, but certainly there's no lack of effort from Hibs. It's just that little bit of class, because I thought they were the better side beforehand. and I thought their reaction to the goal was very good as well.
And they've actually created more going forward than, comfortably more than Hearts have in the opening 45 minutes. There's no and they started, as the boys were very quick to point out. We heard from Lee Johnson beforehand outlining his thoughts. There was such high tempo right at the start. They were absolutely in the faces of the Hearts players from the off. So you've got to actually give Hearts a lot of credit for managing to withstand that, I suppose, and obviously for creating the one opportunity that has been taken. I'm just watching more replays. It's now that you know you're looking out for it. It's absolutely clear. But again, I can understand why the officials didn't pick up on it. Yeah, so plenty, I suppose, for Hibs to be happy about, other than the scoreline and the fact that they simply haven't been able to take any of the chances. They've also been denied by a ridiculous save by Craig Gordon. So Melkerson, brilliant cross. Yuan, an excellent flashing header, does all he can. Craig Gordon dives to his right, he saves it with his right hand, and he has so much strength in that right wrist that somehow he actually knocks it out for a corner over the other post, over to the left. It's an astonishing save.
It is a brilliant save, and we were right in line with it, and it's just a reflex save. He's how long? He doesn't have any time to think there, right? He's just thrown himself, and he's been in the right place at the right time. But it's not a freak because he keeps on doing it, right? If you saw a goalkeeper doing that once, you think, oh, might have got a bit lucky there. This guy does it all the time, and he is, and probably remains Hearts' best player, most influential player. That for a lot of goalkeepers would not have stopped that, and it would be a goal, and Hibs would be back in the game. So it's a huge save for them from a still at his age world class. I genuinely think Craig Gordon is a world class goalkeeper still. Forget about his age. So he's kept his side ahead there. But Hibs, I think Lee Johnson will be, apart from the goal, will be satisfied from what he's seen from the team. He wants a bit more cutting edge. He has that through Martin Boyle. Hopefully we'll see him soon. But his team are giving him a lot here. They're giving him. There's no shortage of effort. There's no shortage of aggression. It's all there. They're just missing that extra bit of class, that clinical edge that Hearts showed when scoring the goal.
Worth a reminder, I guess, that Martin Boyle, the paperwork has been done, so he is on the bench, and it seems certain, doesn't it, that we will see Martin Boyle at some point in the second half. Michael, just in terms of that save from Craig Gordon, it's one thing me seeing it in the studio here, and it's one thing looking at replays, but actually the marvellous thing about a save like that is actually seeing it in the flesh, in the stadium, with the whole atmosphere and the noise going on all around you. Just another breathtaking moment from Craig.
Yeah, I said it right at the time, just incredible save, because the pace was all on the cross, a wonderful cross from Melkerson, and I'm thinking, Johan must have been no more than 6 yards out when he's headed it, and to be able to get the arm up and make the stop when there's such pace on the cross, Johan's guided it onto target perfectly. It's incredible. It really is. It's one of those ones, as you see it playing out, you think to yourself, goal, and then you're like, oh my word, that's unbelievable. It is unbelievable, and it's for Hibs, it's a soul destroying to see that continually happening. But I think there has been a lot of endeavour from Hibs, a lot of positives, but it has been a little bit one-dimensional. Chris Cadden's a great outlet on the right-hand side to put balls into the box. Melkerson did it on that occasion, but I just feel like it's been a little bit predictable. Craig Halkett and Kai Rose on the great extent have marshalled the centre forward Johan fairly comfortably, because they know that Hibs are looking to knock that ball over the top a lot. I think down the sides is where Hibs are going to get greater joy, but I'm not sure that they've got the players there on the park at the moment, certainly, that are going to exploit that. That's where obviously Martin Boyle comes into it, and it's just a question of how long do they wait before they chuck him on?
Like the bet that, you feel for a little bit for Hibs because their best two finishers are Nisbet and Boyle.
Yes.
And neither of them are around at the moment. So that's tough for the new manager to be missing his two most clinical players.
I'm also interested to see Deutsch coming onto the park as well, because I think he becomes good foil for the others that are there. He's different to anything else that they've got on the park at the moment. And if you chuck on Deutsch and Boyle and add that to the mix that they've got there, it's a completely different ballgame.
The other thing is, Tom, Lee Johnson didn't have Nisbet or Boyle when he came to the club.
Yeah.
So, and there was no sign of Boyle at that time coming back, and Nisbet was always going to be out for a while. So it's not at the end of the day, he's brought Bojang in, he's brought Johan in. But the runners that they've got pace. There may be different types of strikers. Obviously, if you look at Hearts, the two strikers that they've got up front in terms of Boyce and Chapman, they're more, a threat. They've had two opportunities. One scored and one to the header, saved. And but they're not running into channels so much. They're not pressuring the Hibs rear guard as much as Johan is in terms of tempo. But who would you bet at the end of the season would score more goals? And that's ultimately which takes you to the next level.
I think once they get Boyle up to speed, and it could be today, it could be next week. I'm not sure how his fitness is at. And once Nisbet is back in the team, there's
and McGeady.
And McGeady. So there's kind of the cavalry are coming over the hilltop for Hibs and for Lee Johnson. So
they have to come over quick if you're a manager.
They do, exactly.
Manager.
Exactly.
Gordon says 19 games is enough. Well, he said, what has he had now? Half a dozen now. So he's got 13 left.
Boyle, you think about Boyle, McGeady, Nisbet, and Deutsch. It's a different
side.
It's a different side completely.
And a different bench as well.
Not to say they're all going to obviously start at the same time, but it gives you real options, cutting edge at the top end of the park, and it's players that will excite the supporters as well.
One caution in the game, as Brian said, it probably was unlucky for Ryan Porteous. I think we all know he's his own worst enemy, and that probably counted against him when he made the challenge, but for him to be yellow carded for that, and Shankland to avoid any kind of sanction for the challenge that he put in a little earlier, was perhaps a bit unlucky for Ryan Porteous. But of course it means he's walking a tightrope, I guess, in this second half. 1-0 it is for Heart of Midlothian. Lawrence Shankland gets his first goal for the club. The SWPL kicks off as I speak. The new season, of course, an extended Premiership, and it's Glasgow City, the deposed champions, who kick off against Spartans. That'll just have got underway at Petershill Park. Later on, Hearts against Partick Thistle is at 3, and then the 4 o'clock matches: Hamilton Accies against Aberdeen, Dundee United against Motherwell, the champions Rangers against Glasgow Women, not to be confused with Glasgow City. Of course, they're playing at Broadwood Stadium. Rangers would certainly fancy their chances of scoring a few goals in that one. You'll be able to watch that one live on it's streamed at the BBC Sports Scotland website, and then the 4:10 kick-off live in BBC Alapa from the Excelsior Stadium in Airdrie is Celtic against Hibernian. Highlights from all the SWPL matches: 7 o'clock tomorrow night, so 7 o'clock Monday night, and the programme now extended because it is a 12-team top flight, 45 minutes long. So all the highlights then, the highlights from the two men's Premiership matches this afternoon. 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel for Sports Scene. It's Jonathan who's back in charge on a Sunday night now, and it's repeated at 11:30 on BBC One Scotland. And remember, European action to come. Will be live from Ibrox on Tuesday night as Rangers look to overturn the 2-goal deficits against Saint-Gilloise. And on Thursday, live in the telly, live in the radio, Dundee United in the Netherlands to take on AZ Alkmaar. Can they build on that wonderful performance and thoroughly merited victory last week? Just a wonderful occasion, you feel, at Tannadice. Great atmosphere, full house, like the old days, and what a goal by Glenn Middleton to give United hope going into that second leg. So lots to come in the week ahead. Right now, the players have re-emerged and the capital, Easter Road, is abuzz. It's 1-0 for the visitors, thanks to Lawrence Shankland, as we get back to our commentary team of Michael Stewart, Jim Duffy and Liam McLeod.
Thank you, Rich. Hibs will get the second half underway in just a moment, looking to try and tip this game in their favour. But they've had Lawrence Shanklin to curse. They've had Craig Gordon to curse as well. Craig Gordon, the best part of 20 years since his Edinburgh Derby debut. As the match gets underway, Hibs going right to left, shooting towards the famous 5 end of the ground, as they tend to do in the second half of matches here. And it's with Chebraya. No changes at half-time as the chip ball down the left will drop harmlessly out for a Hearts throw-in on the near side. So it's Marshall in goal for Hibs. The skipper, Cadden, Bushiri, Porteous, and Chebraya at the back. Porteous was booked. Kenny and Newell in the middle, with Henderson, with Melkerson, Campbell supporting Ewan up front. Craig Gordon in goal for Hearts. Smith, Halkett, Rowles and Cochrane at the back, with Haring and Grant in the middle. They've got Forrest and Mackay wide, with Boyce helping Shanklin, and Shanklin has found out to Mackay on the far side, but it's a good challenge by Porteous in the end of the edge of the box. Shanklin then goes after the scraps, doesn't get there, the whistle goes, and Hibs have a free kick, but almost Jim Duffy. Barry Mackay in on David Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, again, Lawrence Shanklin, pivotal there. He comes towards the halfway line. His touch is good. He's fully aware of Mackay making that run from wide to in. And I thought it was terrific defending from Ryan Porteous. I have to say that, he knew that Barry Mackay wants to come into his right foot, so he went, and then he put the brakes on. He didn't go 100%, and it was good defending from Ryan Porteous, and eliminated a one-on-one situation with David Marshall. So, yeah, excellent defending, but Hearts stole that threat with Shanklin and Mackay, as Tom mentioned earlier on. It's a combination that they, seems to be gathering pace minute by minute.
John Beaton in charge of things this afternoon. Remember, Hibs haven't beaten Hearts here at Easter Road since March 2018. It's a long, old time. Hearts unbeaten in 6 Edinburgh derbies, and now they could be in again with Forrest, right-hand side of the box for Shanklin. Marshall saves, it falls to Mackay, and David Marshall saves again. Brilliant from the Hibernian captain. Not once but twice. Hearts so close to doubling their lead. It stays 1-0. It's a Hearts corner on this near side.
Two magnificent saves from David Marshall. I mean, again, Ryan Porteous have just praised him there, and then he's been like that sometimes. He gets that praise, and then all of a sudden he just has a slack touch. Balls get played in the wide area. It was a terrific cross. Shanklin does it, stretching for it in the 6-yard box. Marshall gets a save, and then quick enough up on his feet to get the second chance away from Mackay.
In comes the corner chance for Shanklin on the turn, but he doesn't catch it. It is back to goal. He's trying to hook it net bound. Marshall holds on. Hibs away in the counter. Marshall bowls it to Melkerson, but he shows way too much of it to Kai Rolls, who was on his way back the centre half from the previous corner, as he takes it out to the far side. It's gone out of play, and it's a Hibs throw-in right in front of the East stand, and it will stay Hibs 0, Hearts 1 on 48.
Yeah, real intense stuff in the first couple of minutes, but Mikkelson's got to just play it there. He's not going to get that time in a derby, and then Rowe gets back to him terrifically well. But earlier on, as I said, they're two great saves. But I think in particular, I mean, Shanklin's stretching for the one, Liam, but I think Barry Mackay's got to be more ruthless here. I think he comes inside, and you think, okay, I'll just pass it into the net, and Marshall, fantastic save. So both goalkeepers showing why they're still at the very, very top level.
Yeah, David Marshall, who binned international football when it became apparent Scotland would not be qualifying for this year's World Cup finals. Craig Gordon very much the number one, but a brilliant double save from the former. As Hibs come forward, it's played into the area by Ewan. Here's Newell, can get away from Haring, who stabs clear from inside his box. Kenny trying to keep it going here. Ewan losing out to Boyce, but winning it back. Good battles down there on the pitch, and eventually breaks to Liam Boyce. Bushiri's there, but he can only play it straight to Haring, who's blasted it forward down the left-hand side for Shanklin. Driving in space, eating up the pitch in front of him, now waiting for support. He's in the box. Shanklin tried the little back heel. Bushiri blocks it, and then Shanklin goes in with the challenge at the edge of the area. Play on, says the ref. No Hibs free kick. Here's Boyce. Boyce to the right of the D, twisting and turning, rolling it infield to Mackay, who flicks over the outside of the boot for Cochrane. It's a delicate disguised ball, and the header goes wide. It comes off the defender, I think, did it? Well, it might have come off the Hearts man last, but the flag's up in any case, and it stays Hibs 0, Hearts 1 in the 50th minute.
Oh, lively stuff, really, really entertaining. Good break there from Hearts. Just it was the right idea from Lawrence Shanklin, but I think if he had actually just played it as a pass rather than try to play the back heel, if he'd done it a split second earlier, there would have been space for that pass to slide through for the overlap and run. But very, very good start to the second half.
Perfect conditions for the game as well. Blue skies above. Look over the gap between the famous five, and he stands the Firth of Forth, looking out over to the Kingdom of Fife. Hearts leading this first Edinburgh derby of the season by a goal to nil. It's a loose ball by Portes, and now it's with Barry Mackay in the 51st minute. Mackay, who was on the score sheet against Ross County last week, comes forward the outside of the boot. Eastbound Forest in the box. Early ball across, nobody there in maroon, and it will stay Hibs nil. Hearts 1.
Too easy really there for Hearts. I mean, Barry Mackay was ambling forward. There didn't seem that same urgency that Hibs started the game with, and then obviously Forrest making that run from wide to diagonal run across. Again, no one picking him up. We said about Hibs in the first half, no communication. Again, he put too much pace on the ball, but again, Hearts have had two fantastic opportunities at the start of the second half, and again posing a threat.
It's certainly worrying for the Hibs fans. Hearts the better side at the start of this second half. Michael Smith over the throw and level with the 18-yard line, finding Boyce back towards Smith. Well defended though by Henderson, and then cleared by Kenny as Ewan takes a heavy touch, and that's gone straight to Mackay, but Newell will get there first. Hamley side puts it out to Cadden on the far side. Cadden fell right out of the game after the opening 20 minutes. When Hearts got their goal, we've barely seen Cadden. That's a poor pass from him, looking for Ewan down that far side, easily cut out, and Cochrane comes forward, and now it's Mackay. Boyce has made his run, as is Shanklin. He's trying to thread it in behind Bashiri, who reacts and passes it back to Marshall, who clears with the right foot. Almost 52 in, 1-0 Hearts.
Right idea there, but just it felt as if it was going to be difficult to be able to get that ball in behind Rocky Bashiri, as it's just, again, it's one of those instances he does well in the end, but it just heart in the mouth stuff for Hibs defender. And I'm just looking at Hibs side, and I just feel they're lacking a focal point at the top end of the park. It just feels as if it's a little bit powder puff at the moment. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Doidge and Boyle, that would be for me like what I'd be looking to do, double sub, get Doidge and Boyle onto the park. And we've already spoken about, obviously Nisbet and McGeady, but they're unavailable at the moment, injured. But you get the two players that are available onto the park, and it certainly would change the dynamic of it.
The chase for Henderson, he's never getting there. It's a goal kick to Hearts, and Lee Johnson has decided to make the change. Brian McLaughlin's pitch side for us here at Easter Road.
Yeah, Christian Doidge has just had a call. He's just put his strip on. Lee Johnson just giving him final piece of the instructions as to who's coming off at the moment. We're still waiting to see.
I think if you're going to knock at long balls up, you want someone like Doidge. He's good in the air, he backs it in defenders. At least if he's not one, he's going to make it difficult for Halkett and Rowe. So I think that seems fair enough. I'd like to see just Henderson involved in the play a bit more. And Michael, he's a good player.
There's a chance for Hearts though. Boyce moving to the edge of the box, rolls it to his right. Grant shoots, gets it wrong. It's sliced well wide, and that will stay 1-0 Hearts in 53.5 minutes. So Hibs will bring on Christian Doidge. It's Melkerson, I think, who's coming off, and indeed Melkerson's number does go up, and Christian Doidge will come on. He got a hat-trick against Clyde in their opening League Cup group match last month, but Michael Stewart, Christian Doidge hasn't scored a league goal in 12 months.
Yeah, well, it's something that I'm sure Lee Johnson would be desperate to change, as with Christian Doidge. But look, he's a guy that knows where the back of the net is. He's obviously been out for a long period of time during that 12 months as well. But yeah, you're talking about, Jim was talking about Henderson. He's not a wide player. You want to be playing him on the inside channel or as a number 10 out and out. And that's what Hibs are going to have to try to do. He's all right if you're going to play him in the left-hand side, if you've got loads of possession and you've got your full-back who's coming around the outside and giving the width there. But as an out-and-out wide player, he is going to be ineffective. He's not got loads of pace, but he's a very intelligent football player. Good feet, good awareness, good ability to find passes for his teammates. But he's got to play on the inside rather than as an outside winger.
He managed 18 goals in 1920 and 13 in 2021. wasn't so good for him last year, as Michael says. He did have his injury problems. Good header there by Rolls, and Doidge battling for it, but when it settles for George Grant, who finds Smith, who plays it off Henderson and out for the Hearts throw in on the near side. Hearts leading 1-0. 55 minutes played now at Easter Road.
You know, because they've just went a straight 4-4-2 now, you know, with Doidge and Johan up front. Doidge will drop off a little bit here and there, but you know, with Henderson and Campbell's went a little bit wider, so you know, it's a positive move, you know, 2 out-and-out strikers, but it may give Hearts a little bit extra player with Forrest coming in and Mackay, you know, maybe just in Boyce dropping in, maybe give Hearts a little bit more of an authority in midfield.
I'm surprised that Doidge is the one that's dropping in there. Personally, I would have thought you would have had him as out-and-out number 9 and allow Johan to make those runs from deeper and like he's been doing, you know, he flips from one side to the other. I don't see him as a focal point, and there's another example. The ball comes up to him, just poor control. Kai Rose is able to win the ball.
Well by Boyce. He's well to not be booked for that one. He's a little bit cynical of the second little hack at Kenny. There's a free kick for Hibs, which is taken short back into their own half for Porteous, and now it's with Bushiri into the Hearts half. Rolls it out to the far side touchline. 56 played now. Out to Cadden, back to Bushiri. Now it's with Porteous, left to the centre circle for Newell, who looks up, scoops it forward. That's a good run by Chabraya. Newell finds him. Chabraya with a first-time ball across the face, and not for the first time this afternoon. Nobody in green and white there to take their chance. Stays 1-0 Hearts.
That was a magnificent run from Chabraya. You know, a great ball from Newell. You know, not too dissimilar to the Barry Mackay pass in terms of the, you know, obviously it's left-footed in behind the fullback. Does he put too much pace on? I'm not so sure. I think
that's what Doidge is saying.
Yeah, but I think again, as soon as that ball's in, strikes have got to be busting a gut. Both of them, Johan and Doidge, should be getting there. Can he throw himself at it? I don't think Kabay can do too much more than that there. If he's soft with it, it's easy for defenders to clear it.
I would agree. I just think that good play, and it's one of the few occasions where you've seen Chabraya getting into the final third, and that they've got to get more of that, because as I've already touched on just before there, Henderson's not going to play in those areas. You want to get him on the inside, and Chabraya is the one that's got to give that width there, and he's got good delivery. It was a good ball from Newell and a good ball across the face.
Newell finds Ewan Henderson, he's in trouble. They've got a throw in there. He elected to try and take on the Hearts defenders, and in the end it does go out for a Hibs throw, but further up the pitch, Joe Newell will leave this for Chabraya. Will he? No, he's taking it quickly himself, looking for Doidge, couldn't quite knock it back into the path of Johan, and Hearts clear only as far as Kenny. Now it's with Newell, controls within the left foot, ball into the box, cleared by Cochrane. Poor touch by Kenny, will drop to Haring, now with Grant, who takes it out to that left hand side, the summer signing. It's another of the summer signings whose Hearts 1-0 up. Lawrence Shanklin with the only goal of the game so far. We played 58. Good play by Mackay, through for Shanklin. Just a bit too much on the pass, and it's through to David Marshall. He was onside there. 58 played, 1-0 Hearts.
Well, you heard Tom English saying at half-time, how often will you hear Mackay to Shanklin goal, and that had the hallmarks of a second one there.
Chabraya getting it from Henderson up the other end. Chabraya with a left foot ball into the Hearts penalty area, flicked away by Alex Cochrane. Out for a Hibs throw-in, level with the Hearts penalty spot as Hibs attack the famous 5 end of the stadium. Bowled into the box there for Campbell, who's forced away from goal, out to that right-hand side, where he turns it back to Chris Cadden. Cadden looks up and elects to take the easy option for Campbell, who goes down. No free kick. Hearts clear through Cochrane. Now picked up by Chris Cadden, and he rolls it back to Porteous inside his own half. Into the centre circle here for Joe Newell. Chabraya is an option wide in the left. That's where it goes. Takes a touch, looks up, left foot cross comes in again. Headed away by Rowles. Bouncing ball. Boyce trying to hold off his man, which he does brilliantly. Rolls it back to Haring. Haring then will slip it out to this near side for Smith. Looks up. It's a long ball by Michael Smith. It'll come all the way through to Marshall. in the 60th minute here at Easter Road. It's Hibs 0, Hearts 1.
Yeah, I mean, Hibs in the last little bit there with Henderson get inside, as Michael said there, and Hibernian, you know, getting on the left-hand side, getting crosses in, with 2 or 3 better crosses, a bit more pace on it, a bit more support in the box. You can see with the 2 strikers being there, at least then there's a little bit more of a threat, although Hearts have dealt with it quite comfortably. I think Josh Campbell, I think it looks as if he's maybe got a tight maybe a hamstring, so that might have to be an enforced substitution out from Lee Johnson. See how he gets on.
It's 2 Hibs heroes going for a warm-up. Paul Hanlon back in the squad, and Martin Boyle. How much longer will Lee Johnson be able to resist throwing Martin Boyle on for? He did mention 25-30 minutes beforehand that you might need to get out of Martin Boyle today. Well, we're into the final 30 minutes now. That's an hour played at Easter Road.
I think Hearts look as if, you know, I see 1 or 2 of their players, you know, stretching a little bit, particularly Michael Smith, the fullback. So, you know, looks as if Lee McCulloch shouting up for one of the substitutions as well. So I think both teams looking at the last part of the game, but certainly Josh Campbell looks in a fair bit of distress, so I can't see him taking too much more part in the game. It'd be the ideal opportunity for Martin Boyle to come on, I would think.
Didn't have his injury problems to seek last season, Michael Smith. And Josh Campbell's coming off, and you probably don't need me to tell you who's coming on. They've sent for Boyle. The vest comes off. Brian McLaughlin can confirm it for us.
Yeah, the roar will tell you. Martin Boyle, he hasn't played for Hibernian since a 2-0 defeat against Celtic at Parkhead in mid-January. He's the player who's coming on. He'll be replacing the injured Josh Campbell. And Hearts also going to be making a couple of changes. Toby Sibic and Nathaniel Atkinson have just in the final instructions at the moment. I'll bring you details of who's coming off very shortly.
Josh Campbell, we're going to talk about Martin Boyle quite clearly, but Josh Campbell is walking very heavily down there. Really seems to be struggling.
Yeah, it looks like a muscle injury to me, you know, so I don't know if it's a hamstring or a pulled muscle, but, you know, I didn't see any challenge or any tackle, so, you know, he looks as if, you know, he's kind of pointing to his thigh or his kind of adductor area, but gives the opportunity sadly for Campbell, but you can hear the rapport from Martin Boyle.
Yeah, the international clearance came through last night. Spent the last 6-7 months in Saudi Arabia. Pretty lucrative deal for him out there, and he's back, and I'm sure he won't be out of pocket as Michael Smith does come off. Toby Sibic is on, and Nat Atkinson is also coming on for Hearts. Double change for them.
Are they going to go to 3 at the back, Michael?
Well, I'm just wondering whether, it's Forrest coming off, and it will go, they'll go to a back 3. Sibic will be right centre half, and Atkinson's going to play right wing back. Just looked at that last phase of play when the ball got played over the top by Smith for Forrest, and you could see that Forrest was looking a little bit tired and leggy.
Throw in Atkinson, first touch for him to Boyce, and they'll play it back to Hibs because of the stoppage in play. And the ball's put out for the injury to Josh Campbell. So 63 minutes. Couple of minutes from the substitutions there. Hibs 0, Hearts 1, and it's back with David Marshall just outside his own box. Long with the right foot from Marshall, out to this near side. Deutsch loves to hang in the air, Christian Deutsch. He does manage to get enough on it to force it back the way to Chebraya. Little back heel misunderstanding there with Newell, and then Chebraya was in on Boyce, and the referee's going to his pocket, and Chebraya is going to join Ryan Porteous in John Beaton's book, and Liam Boyce has felt the full force of that challenge, as he did when he was fouled by Porteous for that first half yellow card. It's Hibs 0, Hearts 1, 63.5. He's been in the wars today, boys.
Look, nowadays you just can't tackle practically, but
he does win the ball.
For me, it's one of those that's round the side, a bit from behind. He wins plenty of the ball. I don't think it's a yellow card personally, but free kick all day long nowadays. He's going to get given a free kick against because where he comes from, but I didn't think it was a yellow card.
Yeah, I think it's one of those difficult ones, Michael. If you're not in control, if you're reckless, if you endanger an opponent, all these kind of things that he probably is a bit reckless, getting even though he wins the ball. You know, he comes because he becomes over the side. But I'm like you know, when you're sitting up here, you see someone winning the ball cleanly, you think, well, you know, that used to be, you know, what you were trying to do as a defender, win the ball cleanly, but.
John Beaton obviously knows the rules a little bit better than us, and he's brandished another yellow card. Well, certainly the Hibs bench are not particularly happy.
Even less happy with the scoreline right now.
It's Barry Mackay playing, off the two strikers now, just in that little pocket, coming in off the wide area. Cochrane getting pushed wide with Atkinson, the right-hand side.
Civic takes the free kick from inside his own half, hoofs it forward, it comes off the head of Cadden, and then Haring's header will put it out to that far side where Bashiri keeps it in play. First time ball forward, is cut out by Haring. Hearts have it back here. Little nick there by Cochrane to get round one, then plays it off Bashiri. It certainly came off Rocky Bashiri's arm, but he was just inches away from Cochrane's foot when he played the ball. It was out for a Hearts throw in, about level the edge of the D of the Hibs box. Second goal for Hearts, Field does it. Field would seal the victory.
Sorry, Liam, somebody's obviously throwing something from the side there, and Cochrane's went down. So I think you can see.
I can't see what it is, but there's clearly
things getting thrown from that side. Yeah.
There's been issues there before. I think there was a couple of incidents involving James Tavernier of Rangers over on that far side. Hearing it's a lighter that's been lobbed from the stand over there, and it's obviously caught Alex Cochrane, and it's something we've seen before. It's something I know Leanne Dempster tried to stamp out here during her time at the club.
It's just unacceptable, really, I mean, there is cameras obviously everywhere, but players, listen, it doesn't matter, it's a derby, we know the intensity, but, players at their place of work, they shouldn't be concerned about their welfare.
If you're a Hibs fan and you're doing that, any support of any club, you're doing that, you're banned for life if you do that now. Why would you want to take the football away from yourself for the sake of an act of stupidity? Anyway, it's 1-0 to Hearts, 66 minutes played, and it's a long ball forward which goes out of play for a goal kick to Hibs, to be taken then by David Marshall. Still Hearts leading by 1-0. The clock ticking away. Hibs with just over a quarter of this derby left to try and salvage something from it. Hibs 0, Hearts 1. Marshall takes a short goal kick to Porteous. They haven't managed to get Martin Boyle on the ball as yet, as Chabraya picks up on the near side. Long left foot ball forward, which is headed away by Rawls. Now it's with Boyle, who manages to move it out to Cadden, who's met by Cochrane, and the referee's given the free kick to Hearts. The Easter Road, the home sections, are just a sea of pent-up frustration right now. Well, 67 minutes in, Hearts 1-0 up.
It's understandable, because the game itself, for me, I get that ball there from Chabraya is so predictable. Kai Rose is able to see it a mile away, drops off and deals with it and heads it away. Simple. And that's obviously frustrating for the Hibs supporters, because they've not really offered a great deal there. And then when you couple it with the marginal decisions that it feels as if the referee's given against them, you can understand why the fans are frustrated. But Hibs have got to do better. They've got to mix up. They've got to play the ball through their midfield. They've got to try and get players on the ball. Henderson's barely been able to get a kick of the ball because they're not passing it to him. There's no point in having him on the park if you're just trying to play those balls over the top. You've got to mix the game up. Okay, Johan's got pace. You want to try and stretch the opponent, but you don't do it where that's the only thing, because it becomes predictable, one-dimensional and easy to defend against.
Tried to play for a throw, and Martin Boyle did get a feel of the ball over there. A couple of nice little touches eventually before Peter Haring got in the way and knocked it out for a throw-in. It's now a Hearts throw-in, which Cochrane's going to take just inside Hibs territory over on that left-hand side. 22 minutes left of the 90. Long throw-in looking to try and get Mackay in down that far side. It's actually come off Bashiri and behind for the corner. That's a cheap one.
Another cheap one from a throw-in, Michael. Again, distances between players, communication. For me, Rocky Bashiri's got to be saying to Cadden, drop back in front here, drop 5. That's what you've got to say, drop 5 yards. He drops 5 yards, he brings it down his chest, you keep possession. Instead of that, he's stretching for it, comes off the top of his head, now Hearts have got a corner.
In fairness, Lawrence Shankland put on enough pressure as the corner comes in. Right-footed in swinger, and it just gets away from Halkett. He was on the stretch, nobody before him met it, and it goes out for a throw-in on this near side, and it will stay 1-0 to Hearts. 21 minutes to play. Remember the 3 o'clock kick-off, Dundee United against Livingston, live here on Sunday Sports Sound. Tuesday, Rangers against Union Saint-Gilloise, and Thursday, AZ Dundee United. United with a lead, Rangers with a heck of a lot of work to do, 2-0 down to the Belgians. Hearts have it with Atkinson, he's won another corner, this time of Porteous. Hearts playing the game exactly where they want to be, deep inside the Hibs half, right in front of their supporters, with just over 20 left. Hibs 0, Hearts 1. Hearts corner, Grant to take.
Well, there's another opportunity for Grant to get a ball in, because
another poor corner earlier.
So far it's not been on point.
Right-footed out swinger from Grant, then into the box it comes. It was better, but it's headed away by Porteous, and then Boyle pinches in ahead of Boyce, and now Boyle gets it round Atkinson, but covering back was Mackay as well, and he rolls it back to Craig Gordon. He'll hit it first time with the left foot.
Great defensive play from Barry Mackay. He just sensed the break and the danger from Martin Boyle's pace, and he went across and covered that dangerous area. Rocky Bashiri looks like he's gone down. Not sure what it is that's wrong with him.
It's Hearts. Hibs played on, but the referee's going to stop it now.
Can't understand that, because Henderson's got the ball. He doesn't want to stop the game. Hibs will get the ball. As soon as Hearts get the ball, John Beaton then decides to stop it. So for me, if Henderson wants to stop it, he kicks the ball out, because he's already got possession.
Last time Hibs won one of these was Boxing Day 2019. Martin Boyle got both in a 2-0 win at Tynecastle. Hibs actually put back-to-back wins together down the Gorgie Road, having gone so long without. It was over 6 years between wins, just about 6 years.
I think Lee Johnson's shouting to Porteous, look, tell me that up, because, you know, every break in play suits Hearts, because it means that Hibs can't get any rhythm. Hearts are still 1-1-0, the clock's running down, you know, all of these sort of things. So, you know, unless there is a booking there for Robbie Nielsen for coming out the technical area, I'm presuming.
Well, Brian's down there, he'll get a good view of it. I would have thought he's now talking to the fourth official, Grant Irvin, down there, Robbie Nielsen.
Yeah, you know, I wouldn't like to be Grant Irvin today, because if it's not been Robbie Nielsen, it's been Lee McCulloch. If it's not been Lee McCulloch, it's been Gordon Forrest. If it's not been either of those, it's been Lee Johnson. It's all the time, constant in the ear of the fourth official.
Yeah, corner Hearts meantime. Good run down the left by Cochrane, and George Grant goes over to take this one as well. Hearts looking to score a killer second here. 72 minutes just about played. They lead 1-0.
Well, you've got to say that apart from that early flurry at the start of the second half, it's been pretty comfortable for Hearts as this second half's been wearing on.
Grant to take, and swinger with the right foot from the left-hand side, headed away by Porteous. Mackay controls in the knee, does well, and he fires it back into Grant on that left-hand side, steps in field and shoots, and Marshall spills it, but eventually it's scooped away by Cadden out for a Hearts throw-in on the far side. Stays 1-0 to the visitors.
Yeah, again, you know, we mentioned the first half, doesn't matter which player it is, if he's right-footed, he's in that left-hand side, you have to show him wide. You can't allow him to drop his shoulder, come inside in his favoured foot, and then have a free shot at target. It was lucky he went down the throat of Marshall, and he kind of parried up in the air, and his defenders cleared the danger. But as Michael said, Hearts are very, very comfortable, and Hibs just look short of ideas at this moment in time.
Throw-in taken by Cochrane, infield it comes to Boyce, and then cleared by Boyle, out for a throw-in again to Hearts. It's the Hibs player who's gone over Doige to give it back to Cochrane. Hibs in more of a hurry than Hearts are. 17 minutes left. Poor throw-in Cochrane, straight to Boyle. He's able to get it clear up towards Yuan, who controls just inside the centres, or just outside the centre circle now. Good play from him, the Frenchman, and he's across halfway now and moving forward and checking in field up against Grant. Plays it to Cadden. Boyle on the touchline. Boyle now level with the edge of the D of the Hearts box. Martin Boyle stepping in field, runs into Haring though. Bushiri with a slide challenge, and then it's blocked, and then they're coming together in the middle of the pitch there between Shanklin and Bushiri. When it all settles down, it settles down as a Hearts free kick. 74th minute, Hibs 0, Hearts 1.
Yeah, I mean, there was there was a very committed challenge from Bashiri. He had no problem with that there. He's won the ball, but as he is, Shanklin's went up in the air. The two of them landed on top of each other, a bit of pushing and shoving. And I think John Beaton just took the easy option here and just give a free kick and just calms everybody down a little bit. But the Hibs fans again just feel as if they're not getting any breaks from the referee.
It doesn't calm the Hibs fans doing, that's for sure. Or the bench, either bench. Brian was just talking about the fourth official getting it in the air for both. He was getting it simultaneously in the air for both there.
Stereo abuse.
Lawrence Shankland's goal on 23 minutes is the difference. 74.5 on the clock. Atkinson keeps it in play on the near side, knocks it back the way, but Henderson gets there first. Now Doidge under pressure from Sibic. Good defending there by Toby Sibic on the halfway line. Out for a Hibs throw-in on this near side. Chebraya over it. He's stolen a good few yards there, Chebraya. And bowls it back to Porteous.
I think Joe Newell earlier on in the game, or the first or the second half, Michael was getting on the ball, was making a few really good, exquisite passes. But I think he needs a number 10. I think he needs to link up the play with someone in those little pockets between midfield and strikers.
Absolutely.
You know, like where Henderson is just now. If someone could, you know, link up the play. It's a great ball, but you can't do it all the time, as you say.
It's a good ball. Porteous finds Boyle, early deliveries, headed away by Rowles. Only as far as Henderson, right angle of the box. We played 75. Henderson loops it in, way too close to Craig Gordon, and it stays Hibs 0, Hearts 1. Will it be bragging rights for Hearts? And 3 big points take them up to the top with Celtic and Rangers in the Premiership, the embryonic league table. Newell clipping it out wide right to Cadden. Still time for Hibs here though. Cadden has it level with the 18. Up against Cochrane. Rolling it under the right foot, moving back the way. Passing it back to Bashiri. Midway inside the Hearts half, and he goes back. Then the Hibs fans not happy. They want the ball forward. You can understand that. Their team 1-0 down. They won't do any damage going back the way.
Just bounce it into the you know, Henderson, bounce it back, bring players out. You know, it's just like throwing it in and hoping for the best. To me, either Johan or Doidge or Henderson, they've got to come and demand the ball and just bounce it off you.
Absolutely,
just
because
a little wall pass.
What happened there when Rocky Bashiri had the ball was he's got no left foot, first of all, to be able to spin it out to the left-hand side. But you looked at Hibs' front line, they were all standing in a line up against the Hibs the Hearts defence. And then even when it went back to Porteous as well, the same thing. Nobody was stepping off to offer it. And you know, when you're playing five-a-sides in training and stuff like that, all you want is a front man to bounce balls off, drive forward, and you can play 1-2s in around the edge of the box. It's the same in instances like that when you're in the final third. You need somebody to go and bounce it off. There was nobody there at all from Hibs.
77 just about played, 1-0 to Hearts. Changes, Brian.
Yeah, Georgie Grant, the game's actually passed him by a little bit, certainly in the second half. He's coming off, Cammy Devlin coming on, and Jake Doyle-Hayes will certainly be coming on for Hibernian very shortly indeed. We're still discussing though who will be exiting the pitch.
That's a good substitution from Hearts. I think Brian's absolutely spot on. Grant's drifted, not really had an impact in the game, and Cammy Devlin at this stage, a bit of energy and determination in the middle of the park is no bad thing.
Loves a battle, and he's just won it on this near side. A 1-2, and then he plays it low across, near post, held on by David Marshall, low. Really good give and go there between the two Aussies, Atkinson and Devlin, as Marshall bowls it short to Porteous. 77.5 on the clock. Hibs 0, Hearts 1. Porteous with the long ball, Yuan giving chase, Halkett sticking with him and pushing him aside.
It's predictable again, and by the way, that one actually ends up at Johan, and he should have done better. But I just don't see what when he gets it in there, I just don't see him as being decisive.
That's a great ball out to this near side by Mackay. Here's Boyce wide on the right of the penalty area, rolls it back, and the shot from Atkinson blocked by Bashiri, and behind for a Hearts corner as the Jam Tarts look to seal the deal. 78 played, 1-0 they lead.
Yeah, see the other thing is, I know, even as a decent ball rate, and I understand you, but the fact is, because the midfield's so far away from the striker, that when they lose possession, there's no cohesion between the midfield and the striker. So when Hearts won it, one little ball down the side, and they've got the two strikers, and obviously in that particular incident, the wing back as well. Good block from Bashiri there.
Outswinger, corner to be taken by Barry Mackay, right-footed, in it comes. There's a little push in the box on Porteous, and that's a Hibs free kick.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Hibs midfield, the likes.
Sorry, Mikey, Hibs changed. Just Doyle-Hayes, Brian mentioned, he's the player who's going to come on for Hibernian, the player to be withdrawn. It looks of things as though it's Kenny. Mikey.
I was just saying that, Kenny is going off at the other end of the other side of the park there. Him and Joe Newell are guys that want to clearly get on the ball. They're not guys that want to get up on second ball. So Jim's absolutely spot on there, that they're looking to get the ball to feet. The ball's getting played over the top. And Johan is
50 yards away from him.
Yeah, but also he's not really done anything when he's got the ball. You know, this afternoon, a lot of the times the balls have been poor and the Hearts defenders have just dealt with it anyway. But on that occasion where it ends up where he gets to it, very easily defended by Craig Halkett, and then countered because there's no midfield for like 30-40 yards.
We're in the foothills of the final 10 here. 79.5 on the clock. It's Bushiri for Hibs, and he squares it to Porteous. Porteous short ball there for Joe Newell. Left foot there to Doyle Hayes. Out wide right for Boyle. Debut second time around for Martin Boyle. Now to Doyle Hayes. Right foot ball comes in. Doidge timed his jump incorrectly, but it's been put past by Sibic for a Hibs corner. That's better from the home team. Yeah. 80 minutes played.
Yeah, a little bit better in. You know, there from Cairn again, whipped it in, but you know, there was only Doidge really, and Atkinson was, you know, quite comfortable just shuffling away for another corner. So Henderson this time with the corner from the opposite side.
Ewan Henderson's brother Liam put in one of the most famous corners in Hibs history in that Scottish Cup final in 2016. It's the younger version who takes it. Gordon comes out, gets something on it, and it goes back over the bar, and Hibs have a second corner. Kind of went back the way Gordon came out facing his opposite number, went to punch it. It's gone back up over his head and over the bar.
I think it was Halkett that headed it.
Halkett got there,
possibly,
yeah. Henderson gets a second chance then. The 81st minute, right foot, it's more loopy towards the back post. There's a header over the bar. They're going to get another corner. It's Christian Doidge who's holding his head in his hands. Stays 1-0 Hearts. This is Hibs' best period of pressure on the Hearts defence in this second half.
Well, it's two corners into dangerous areas where it actually asked questions of the Hearts defence. The second one allowed the Hibs players to go and attack it.
In-swinger coming up this time, left-footed from Joe Newell. Into the Hearts box, out comes Gordon and holds on. The Hearts fans up the other end of the stadium delighted with that. It stays then. Hibs 0, Hearts 1, final 9.
Yeah, neither team's been great at set plays today. You know, I think that yeah, that one corner there from Henderson wasn't bad, but other than that, most of the corners and free kicks have been quite poor. Joe Newell had one fantastic free kick in the first half, but generally speaking, I think that's an area where both teams will have to improve upon going through the season. It's such a vital part of the game these days, Mike, was set plays, particularly if you're Hibs and you're not, you know, a free-flowing goal-scoring team.
I'm surprised that Chris Carden's not been put on corners. I think his delivery is really, really good.
Yeah, there's a chance for him, right-footed, cross ball, headed away by Rowles.
He's done that ever so well the whole game. I've got to say, Kai Rowles, just defensive instinct. You know, when you see centre halves just recognising that front post area, you block it, and the number of times, you know, it's not as if he's somebody that would catch the eye, but see, as a defender, he's in the right areas more often than not. Physically, when he's had a battle, he's won them, and he's kept the ball simple. I've been impressed with him at left-sided centre half, I've got to say. 3
times capped Australia international, 3-year deal he signed. He was at Central Coast Mariners last season.
You see things like that from Rocky Bashiri.
He's given it away. Yeah.
Not seen Kai Rowles do.
Oh, Boyce is down again.
Like that.
Boyce is down again. Challenged by Bashiri. Hearts play on Atkinson. Poor pass. Misunderstanding with Shanklin. Goal kick Hibs. But for the third time in the game, Liam Boyce has felt the full force of a Hibs challenge. 83 minutes just about played, with Hearts leading 1-0. A bit of cramp there as well, Jim.
Yeah, I think it's cramp. I think, yeah, he was stretching for the ball and just toe poked it. And I think at this stage of the game, and the amount of what they're putting in, it's a very hot day out there on the pitch, and like everything else, you know, adrenaline in the derby. I think he's just tightened up there and he's stretched. But I don't think he can make. Is he not made 3 stoppages? I think Robbie. I think he's made the 3 stoppages. I don't think you can take anyone, put anyone else on, is there? I think you're allowed the. I know the 5 sub, but you're only allowed 3 stops. And I think he's had the 3, hasn't he?
He's had, what is he? He's put Devlin on, he's put Sibic and on, and Atkinson. Sibic and Atkinson came on at the same time. Yeah, so he's got one more.
Yeah. But you know, you'd be looking to take Boyce off, but he's been good today, Boyce. I think he's been really good composure. And there's a nice partnership there to be built with Shanklin. Both different sorts of strikers, both know where the back of the net is.
Here come Hibs with Chibrai on the near side. 2 Hearts, 3 Hearts players around them. Eventually gets it forward. It's cut out by Sibic, and now Boyce has it. It's great work rate from Liam Boyce, really is. And Haring rolls it back to Rowles, who clears it with the left foot.
I have to say, I think he's been superb as well. Haring, Michael, I think he's done a terrific job in there. You know, he's in there with Devlin now, but Grant was more forward, and it was almost like a 4-1 with Hearts with Haring. But I think again he's been terrific. He's blocked things. He's picked up second balls. He's just kept the game simple, and he's been since I know he was injured for a long time, but I think he definitely is a real asset for Hearts.
He's a year out of the team, Peter Haring, missed the whole season as Martin Boyle picks up in the right of the Hearts box. His cross is blocked by Cochrane, down he goes, free kick, level with the penalty spot over on that right hand side. No question that it's a free kick as Boyle was wiped out. And this is an opportunity for Hibs to swing the ball in. Peter Haring waiting to get back to his feet. It was he who fouled Boyle. And this is the kind of opportunity Hibs need. Just over 20,000 inside Easter Road this afternoon. 20,179 is the official attendance as the clock ticks on to 85.
Yeah, I mean, Michael, I thought Cadden would be ideal, but Newell could probably whip it in as well here on his left foot. I think Haring a little bit of fatigue there after giving him praise. That's a killer thing to do.
Henderson and Newell over it. Newell with the left foot would always be favourite in this kind of situation. You would think bend it in to that corridor. Hibs have plenty up inside the penalty box. Newell takes, no, he's going to leave it for Henderson, right footed in it comes, it's headed away by Shankland, the goal scorer. It can't be kept in play by Civic on the near side, so Hibs have a throw in on the reverse side of the pitch here. They are left as they attack the goal to the left.
Lee forgot it was a multi-ball system, trying to keep the ball. There's another Hibs already take. He's actually delayed it.
Yeah, the Hibs manager, he ran on the pitch to get the ball and give it to his players up the other end of the park. Throw in taken Chebraya, bowls it to Boyle. Boyle looks up, it's a disguised chip looking for Doidge, couldn't find him, right through to Craig Gordon, and it stays Hibs 0, Hearts 1. Gordon elects not to try and release Shankland quickly. Had it been nothing each, he probably would have done. It stays Hibs 0, Hearts 1, 86 played. And Hibs are running out of time quickly here, and you would have to say, I know they won last week, but have to go down as a really disappointing start to the Lee Johnson tenure, out of the League Cup, and if they lose this first Edinburgh derby of the season, more pressure will go on the new Hibs manager's shoulders, without question.
It's, yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that, because going out of the Premier Sports Cup at the group stage, it was a calamity, really. And the league campaign is in its infancy. I don't. It's so early that I don't think he's going to be under any sort of pressure. But what it does do is it starts to feel just a little bit waiting for something to ignite. Look, this Hibs squad. We spoke about this before. The Hibs squad is good. It's too bloated. I think they've got too many players. They need to get rid of a lot. But there's certainly a team there. But the problem I've seen this afternoon is I'm not really sure that they know what they're trying to do yet. It's a little bit, one part of the team's doing one thing, another part's doing another. If they can forge their way forward with a clear identity, I think they've got the players there to be fine. But the competition this season is strong. The league is strong. And that's where Hibs might have a problem. Last season there was a lot of inconsistency from a lot of clubs. I don't see that happening this year.
Gets the cross in, too close to Gordon, who holds on. Yeah, when I say pressure, I don't mean pressure perhaps from the boardroom, but you'll be putting himself under immense pressure with anything negative that happens. And obviously the supporters will be venting their spleens as well. As Hearts come forward, long ball Mackay looking for Shankland and finding Shankland. Right hand side of the Hibs box, cross comes in, headed away by Porteous. We've played almost 88 now. Hearts 1-0 up still. The goal scored in 23 minutes. Handball given against Devlin inside the Hibs box. Porteous takes the free kick quickly, but there's going to be a Hearts change, and Andy Halliday is going to replace Liam Boyce for the final couple of minutes. Halliday scored twice in a 3-1 win against Hibs at Tynecastle last season after being berated at the school end by the Hibs fans in that game. He answered with 2 goals the week before that Scottish Cup semi-final as Hibs were plunged into the bottom 6. As Boyce comes off, and Jim and Mikey have already waxed lyrical about Liam Boyce's performance today.
Yeah, I mean, again, he gives everything. He's an intelligent player. He's not playing as the out-and-out striker. He's happy to do the other side of it. He knows it's about the team, and I think these type of players are invaluable, what they give to the team.
Well, I think Ellie Yuan was just named sponsors man of the match here. Of course, has to be a home player for them, but He's done that much, I have to say. Cadden started the game well for Hibs. Looked like he would be the most likely outlet for them as we go into the final minute of the 90. 4 minutes are being added here.
Sure. I'm not sure that was a free kick.
Devlin's gone in on Doyle Hayes, who takes a quick free kick out to Henderson. He just manages to keep it in play on the far side, midway inside the Hearts half. Reverse ball, looking to get it through to Boyle. Good challenge, Cochrane. Wonderful challenge by Alex Cochrane. I said 4 minutes being added. It's gone up to 5, presumably because of that Halliday substitution, as Bushiri shields it and it goes out for a Hibs throw-in. So Hibs have 5.5 minutes left to try and save this. They trail 1-0. They have for a while now. Here's Porteous getting it from Marshall.
And so far, you've got to say that they look like they've lacked any real ideas of how they're going to do it. They've got time. There's no doubt there's time left for it.
Well, here's Henderson. He's overhit the pass, looking for Boyle.
It's the first time he's got in the half turn in that little pocket. The first time in the whole game. 90 minutes up, and he's the first of years overhits it. But that's the type of thing you're looking for. Someone to drop into that little area, get in the half turn, and slide a little pass in or up to the strikers. I'm with you, Michael. I'm not 100% sure exactly what style Hibs are playing under. You know, the various managers, we know we've spoken about Jack Rawson, but even Sean Maloney, you know, Sean was maybe over technical and passing through the lines, but you knew exactly what he was trying to do. I'm not quite sure. As I said, I don't think the Hibs players yet are quite on board with what Lee Johnson's trying to do.
Ewan Henderson, Jim's spot on. That is exactly where you want him to be. But for it to be, you know, injury time before he's actually got in the area and got on the ball, he missed, you know, he overhits it, doesn't get it coming off. That's what you want him to be, and now he's picked up a yellow card.
Yeah, foul on Mackay down below. Sabari Mackay's down, that just eats away a few more seconds as Hearts close in on a victory that they've seldom looked like surrendering at any point today. The Hearts fans can sense a win is in the offing. Last season's third place side, they were Scottish Cup runners-up for the third time in 4 years last term. As I mentioned in the first half, they'll play in the group stage of a European tournament for the first time since 2004. No matter what happens in their Europa League playoff against FC Zurich or Linfield. Zurich with a 2-0 lead after the first leg on Thursday in Belfast. As the long ball goes out and it's killed in the chest by Lee Johnson, the Hibs manager. A brief spell at Hearts. He was there for 6 months, did win an Edinburgh derby 4-1. He was part of a side under Valdis Ivanauskas that won an Edinburgh derby. He's going to be on the receiving end by the looks of things here. Hibs have the ball at the edge of their own box, and it remains 1-0 to Hearts. The stoppage time period is 5. We're down towards the final 3 of those now, though, as Cochrane gets there ahead of Boyle. He's won every battle between the two since Martin Boyle came on the hour mark. 1-0 Hearts. Throw in Hibs, though, taken short there to Yuan. And then move back to Bushiri just inside his own half. He moves it into the centre circle for Porteous. Hearts looking to make it 2 wins out of 2 at the start of the Premiership season. Hibs would absolutely take a draw now. Boyle gets it in defeat from Doyle Hayes. Back to the Irishman. Rolls it through to Newell. He's got a bit of space here. He's at the byline, out towards the corner flag on the far side. Rolls it back to Doyle Hayes. Right foot cross comes in. There's an appeal for handball, optimistically from the Hibs fans.
But look who it is again. You know, a sense of where to be. It's Kai Rolls right at the front post area.
Long ball from the keeper's Boyle in here. Good first touch, Martin Boyle. He's in, shoots, and it's deflected behind, is it? Yes, corner. What a chance for Martin Boyle. Perhaps if he's up to game speed, he's scoring there. It stays 1-0 Hearts. That might be as good an opportunity as Hibs get.
Yeah, Halkett does brilliant, you know, because he doesn't dive in too much. The first one when Boyle drops his shoulder, stays on his feet, and then he stretches and gets the block in.
Hibs corner then. Henderson with it. 2 minutes left, less than that of the injury time. In comes the corner. It's flicked away by Haring. And that's going to go out of play for a throw-in for Hibs. Level with the Hearts penalty spot on the far side. Starting to keep an eye on the clock more regularly now, though, as Doyle Hayes fires the ball in. Henderson controls in the chest, blasts it across. Bushiri, it's over! What a chance! What a chance to steal a point from this derby for Rocky Bushiri, who doesn't exactly endear himself to the Hibs fans by mistiming the header, and it goes over the crossbar, and it will stay Hibs 0, Hearts 1 as we move in towards the final minute of injury time. Hibs have had 2 chances right to the death to steal a point. They failed to take either of them.
Huge opportunities for Hibs. There was 3 Hibs players over at the back post area there. Eventually it's Henderson that fires it across the goal. To be a little bit kind to Rocky Bashiri, it's spinning, he's stretching, it's a wee bit behind him. It's not a clear-cut sitter, but in the magnitude of the game like that, you can't afford opportunities like that to go a begging. It has to go in the back of the net.
Youan with the chest down for Boyle. The final 30 seconds. Boyle rolls it to Youan, right hand side of the box, takes on his man, he's away from Halkett, pulls it back. Boyle! Goal Hibernian! And who else by the returning hero Martin Boyle, who races away in celebration. Hibs have stolen a point in the derby right at the end, and it is one of their modern day heroes, Martin Boyle, on his debut to steal a point. Hibernian 1, Heart of Midlothian 1, and the Hibs fans go absolutely crazy.
What a magnificent goal actually from Hibs, particularly in the last few seconds. And it's the first time in the whole game we can remember him linking up the play a little bit. Boyle comes up, plays the ball to Youan. I actually thought it was a little bit behind him, but Johan's pace, absolutely electric, knocks it to the byline, pulls it back. Boyle continues his run, does what Shankland does, keeps that composure, shows that real quality, why they brought him back, and finishes it off for an equaliser. Whether Hibs deserve it or not, Lee Johnson won't bother. It's a fantastic goal from Martin Boyle. And you know, again, as I said, typical derby. You can never know what's going to happen, Liam.
Well, it's a good few Hibs fans made their way onto the pitch to celebrate there. Some players as well. Well, the paperwork only came through last night. The international clearance came through last night. But Martin Boyle, the man who scored the goals the last time Hibs won this fixture, they aren't going to win this game because that was basically the last chance. John Beaton's allowed centre to be taken, but that's about it. Hibs have taken a point from nowhere. 3 opportunities they managed to create in injury time, to be fair to them. And they took the last one. Martin Boyle sliding it past Craig Gordon. And we always knew how important a player Martin Boyle was to Hibs. They missed him in the last half of last season, but he has stepped up right at the death here to ensure his team is not beaten on his debut second time around. It was really good play by Youan, we must point that out. Brilliant pace, got away from Halkett, pulled it back, and Boyle, first time, cancelling out that 23rd minute Lawrence Shankland goal. And Hibs take a point at the end of this match, which was pulsating in part. It was fought keenly for the full 95 minutes, and Hibs have taken a point, and that might actually end up being a big point for them in the grand scheme of things, even this early in the season. Hearts crestfallen. Shankland's goal cancelled out by Boyle in the first Edinburgh derby of the season here at Easter Road finishes Hibernian 1, Heart of Midlothian 1.
This